Meeting of the Daly City Council this Monday, October 23rd, 2023. Just a general announcement, if you want to watch our council meeting, you can go on youtube.com/Daly City Video Meetings or on the web at www.dalycity.org/agendas. If you want to participate by way of public comment, you can always submit written comments by the meeting day. You can submit written comments during the meeting, and obviously you can attend the meeting in person and say your public comment. If you could all please rise and say the pledge to the flag with me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can we start with a roll call, please, Madam Clerk?
Ms. DiGiovanni.
Present.
Dr. Rod.
Here.
Ms. Manalo.
Present.
Mr. Sylvester.
Glenn Sylvester, present.
Mr. Buenaventura.
I'm present. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have two presentations today. We're going to start us off with the Dolger Senior Center staff recognition. Presenting on that is community member Sevilla Hui. Yes, come on up.
Oh, I'm starting?
Yes. You're first on the list. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you all for having me today.
Thank you for being here.
My name is Sevilla Hui, and I grew up in Daly City. My parents immigrated here in 1975 from Hong Kong and purchased a house in Westlake in 1976. So I basically grew up here all my life. I went to OLM, went to Westmore, San Francisco State. And even though I've lived in San Francisco and New York, I still consider Daly City my home, not San Francisco. I'm all about DC. But unfortunately, we didn't really know about the senior center until July of this year. Here are my parents, Mom, Ada and Eddie, and my mother was still complaining to my sister and I about the fact that she feels very lonely and isolated. And so my brother-in-law did some research and found a senior center. And since they live in Hawaii, I did the research and I called Ben from the senior center. I don't know if he's here today. No, okay. But I called him and he gave me some information about what they do, the program, and the fact that they serve hot meals every day. And so I told my parents, you need to sign up. This sounds amazing. All the amazing classes. And so they went the very next day, started taking yoga classes, pool classes, and regularly goes to lunch. And they always rave about Opal's amazing meals. They love her cooking. And not too long ago, my mom and dad were there, and they noticed that my dad wasn't feeling great. And unbeknownst to all of them, he was about to suffer a stroke. And right away, Karen and Opal interrupted them, made sure that assessed the situation, made my mom feel very comfortable because she was a nervous wreck. He was, I guess, non-responsive. So they called 911, and paramedics came right away. And so not only did they save his life, but as a result of that, and I was going to get married like a month later. So as you could imagine, this was a lot for someone who's planning a wedding and, thinking like, oh my God, something could have happened to my dad. So, we were very grateful that they were able to really just sort of take care of them and also really take care of my mother, because when all that happened, Opal made sure that they had food with them. And so when I met them at the hospital at Seton, my mom's like, oh my God, they even packed me a lunch, and so they showed me what the lunch was. And, ever since they found out about the senior center, their life has changed considerably. It's probably the best thing that's ever happened to them. And so as a result, it's the best thing that's happened to my sister and I, because we worry about our parents. And so having this community and having the staff just be so kind and welcoming is something that I wish that most of my friends' parents could have. And so I wanted to thank the organization and want to make sure that you are all aware that this is a very important program. I know that's been around for a long time, and I'm sorry that we just discovered it recently. But so when all this went down, I wanted to let Denise know about what happened. So I sent her an email, and she asked if I could present it and read it to you all. So if you don't mind, I'd like
Okay.
to read it.
Yeah.
So, dear Ms. Brown, I'm writing on behalf of my parents, Eddie and Ada Hoy, who are new members of the Dolger Senior Center. They became members a couple months ago and has truly changed their lives. The only regret is that they did not know about your program sooner, or they would have joined many years ago. Since they have joined, my parents have been so much happier. My mom, especially, was severely depressed and was often sick as a result of her depression. But ever since they started going to the senior center, she now has a purpose, and that has made the biggest difference in all of our lives. Your program has given both my parents a lifeline. But today, that lifeline was a real one because my dad suffered a scary health episode as they were waiting for their lunch. Thankfully, the members of your staff, Karen Parquet and Opal Fuller, were there to the rescue. They called 911 and sought medical care immediately. My mom told me that they were both talking to my dad to make sure he stayed awake as they waited for the ambulance to arrive. They also comforted my mom, who was in a bit of shock. Once the ambulance arrived, Opal even came out with a packed lunch for both of them, knowing they had not had their lunch yet. Later that day, I drove to the center to meet and thank your staff, and Karen was nice enough to drive my dad's car back to their house as he has to stay at the hospital overnight. In the past couple months, my parents have been telling my sister Cindy and I all about Karen, Opal, Terry, Justin, and Ben. They keep telling us how nice everyone is and how even in such a short amount of time, your staff has welcomed them with open arms and have made them feel like part of the Dolger Senior Center family. They especially love Opal's delicious meals. We get pictures daily of their lunch and really appreciate how healthy their meals are. We cannot thank your staff enough for all that they have done, not just today, but every day that my parents are at the center. I know San Francisco honors their volunteers and staff. I was an ombudsman for San Francisco for many years and received a certificate of appreciation from the mayor. If Daly City offers the same recognition, please let me know how I can nominate your incredible staff. They truly deserve it.
Wow.
And I wanted to include, since this letter was written, my mom started pickleball. And she takes Linda's yoga classes regularly. And like I said, she just loves this organization. But the one thing that did come to mind when all this happened was just access to the senior center, which I feel like if more people were made aware that this program existed and if also there was transportation for seniors, it would really help more people attend this wonderful facility. And I know that Almach Center has, a regular, I don't know if it's like shuttles that they help drive seniors to the programs, but if that's something that Daly City can look into, that'd be great. I work for Salesforce, and we are big into philanthropy. So if there's something that I can do to help with fundraising, let me know so that we can spearhead that. So anything that we can do to help elevate this program is what I'd love to do.
Wow. I want to thank you for really giving Daly City this feel-good moment. I mean, I keep looking at your mom because she looks exactly like my mom. And I just we're in government and we try to do the right things and get projects for the people. And when we see results like this, that, tangible proof that we really are doing something right,
Yeah.
and we can get it right sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just so happy for your parents, for you
Yeah.
as their child. I'm proud of my staff for what you've done. And it just makes me feel good that I live in Daly City. And I'm just really grateful that you shared your story with us, thought it was important enough
Yeah.
to reach other people because of what they've done for your family and your parents. And it gives me a lot of hope that
Well, I'm
we
glad.
can be better and do better things and continue to make people like your parents happy. And
Well, they were like, can you tell them this? Can you tell them that? I'm like, why don't you tell them yourself? And I'm not a public speaker. This is very nerve-wracking for me, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to make sure that people know
Yeah.
that this is something that is really appreciated by our family.
Yeah.
And I don't want there a lot of these people are just unsung heroes.
Yeah.
A lot of the volunteers are also very just great. My parents are like, all the volunteers are so nice, and I love old people. I was an ombudsman, so this is something that's very near to my heart. But when it's my parents, it's a little even extra. And so I want to make sure that other people have access to this. And so if there's a way to figure out the transportation aspect of it, I really would appreciate that, because I think it would really benefit people, especially when so many people feel isolated, especially as with COVID and everything. A lot of people are just at home, suffering with being lonely, and we shouldn't have that. We should all be part of a really strong community, especially now with so much hatred and war and anger. And so we really need to bring the community together and make it stronger. And I hope that Daly City, and I hope you as a mayor, will lead that charge too.
Absolutely. I know we have comments from my council member. Let me start with the vice mayor. Go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much for coming up and sharing the story of your parents. Like you, I also grew up in Daly City ever since, and so Daly City has been home for me, and now raising my 2 children here. But to hear that your parents have found a place at Dolger Senior Center is amazing. Without a doubt, the staff is always tremendous. And thank you for coming today to honor them. Even as I spoke with them today, they didn't even want to be acknowledged. That's just how much kindness they have and how much care genuinely. So at this time, like all the staff, please stand up so that we can acknowledge you for saving a life and giving back. Thank you so much. And that's just how much care they have. It's so genuine, and it just you can see that with the daily programming, the amazing food that Opal brings, because she cooks it definitely with her heart. And also someone that grew up in Daly City, cares so much for our community. And as Mayor Buenaventura said, this is just a wonderful feel-good moment. I'm also touched with in this moment to hear what community is and what community can give, and how you as a daughter is like, how much more can we give to others as far as sharing and spreading this opportunity. And that just is also a testament of you as a community member to want to share what your parents have experienced. And so I think, this is a really wonderful start of the meeting, Mr. Mayor. And I just want to say thank you for also speaking up and wanting to give back to Daly City. It's a wonderful idea that you have around having a shuttle so that there's more accessibility to the senior center, and looking for ways to partner in that way.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that you're here, and also both of you. Thank you so much for being here, and also big kudos to all of the staff that are on the ground day in and day out. You definitely deserve the flowers and so much more. So thank you.
Dr. Rod, go ahead.
First off, thank you to the staff. I think there's already a lot of words that have been shared. As a person that directs a nonprofit organization, we try to strive for providing a service for a community where the service doesn't even feel like you're just doing service, but it's taking care of one of our own, like we're family. And I just want to say thank you for doing that, because a lot of times there's that separation between like what is a job versus what is your vocation. And when you could find that alignment between the two, that's where it's like that sweet spot where we are being authentic, we are being we're caring for, and we're being able to put our passion and love behind something that we believe in. And I'm so proud to be part of our Daly City community when things like stories like this comes our way. So I just want to say thank you for the acknowledgement. Thank you for being part of our community. And I do agree with the vice mayor as well. It's like how maybe we could use private-public partnerships, see how we can get these wheels churning. But thank you to staff, thank you to mom and dad for coming through. I appreciate it.
Go ahead, Mr. Giovanni.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
Well, a lot of this echo the same thing, but as you know, and you've heard from your beloved parents, they are full of love at that Dolger Center. So I believe that, not that because your dad, that he would have had a stroke anyway, but I believe in timing.
Same.
And these are angels, truly angels. I'm start crying. That for me, when you walk in that senior center, I'm sure I can see them as well. It's nothing but love, kindness, something the world needs more of. And respecting our elders. It's so important. Life is so short and fragile. None of us know, right? No matter what age. And for you, you need a peace of mind. You're the daughter, and I don't know if you're the baby daughter, but that's okay. But you know what I mean? It's a peace of mind when you have both parents. They're your parents. There's no amount of anything that you wouldn't do for them. And when you see them and see their faces, and already the socialization, I think that's what we were having a discussion of before, because of the COVID. And when you discover the socialization, how vibrant, look at your mom and dad. It is like a fusion that no doctor, no medicine, no nothing. It's an infusion of love. There's your infusion of love right here. That's your IV. That senior center has a heartbeat. And there it is. And they saved your dad and they saved your mom for a reason, because they're a part of it. So that family enveloped coming in, and there are different ways, like we had a Bayshore shuttle for a long time, but there's different ways between the Transportation Authority and other regional boards where there's a lot of grant funding on a federal level and things like that as well. And even reaching out to Congressman Kevin Mullen's office, and maybe in Salesforce or whatever. And where there's a will, there's a way. And I think our council really realized that it's vibrant, but we want to do more for the Dolger. So we need to make it, we have plenty of priorities. We could say we have this and that, but we need to make, that's our diamond. And it's always been a diamond. So we need to treat it like that, and the people that are enveloped in it. So humbled you're here, and they know that every single one of them that are here tonight, as you saw, they're very humble. They don't say much, but they did it right away. They didn't even ask. And to know that Opal, not a surprise, packed up that food, made sure that your mom had something to eat, that's golden, right? That's golden. So thank you for being a part of our gym and continuing, and may you thrive and live and prosper the rest of your years with all of us together as a family and with all of them, because this is your family. Yeah. And blessings and love will come you and your daughter as well. So, and thank you as well. The same thing over here. We always say that recreation is the best, right? I mean, of when they come out and they give a trunk or treat. But this is the epitome of a human, and we need that right now. The humanitarian, without asking. So thank you very much, and thank you, Mayor. Just like.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments? Go ahead, Mr. Sylvester.
Ms. Huey, thank you so much for coming before us this evening. And when I speak, I generally try to give from life experiences. So I'm going to give you a couple of things from life experiences and see if it applies here. I remember approximately 3 years ago, a colleague who I used to work with said, "Hey, we want to get pickleball to Daly City." And hearing you speak and how your parents are availing themselves of it, I told him, as for me, nope. As Clint Eastwood says, a man's got to know his limitations. Now, I'm sure your parents, in their visit over to the senior center, have run across Miss Marion Mann sitting here to my left in the audience. And for many years, she's really tried to push me into something called bocce ball.
Oh, yeah, that's what he plays.
Okay, exactly. And what I learned, and it's a statement about bocce ball that I'll never forget, it takes minutes to learn, but a lifetime to master. So that's that. But then on the other hand, given the profession I was in before, sometimes or most of the time, you have to put yourself in the other person's shoes to know what they are going through. So subsequently, it can help you make a decision as to how you proceed and move forward. All too often in our life, we do things, and this is pertaining to staff and personal and the community. You do things and you just do it. But the real joy comes where somebody acknowledges what you have done and says, thank you. And that's what you have done tonight. And I'm sure our staff appreciates it. I remember a couple of years ago, I was asked to be a judge, and this is for your parents, at some food event down there at the senior center. And Opal was in charge, and they had 4 different stations with different ingredients, fruit, vegetables, and each station had to cook something. And then as a judge, you would go by and give your critique. That was something unique. So not only that, but I focused on one word you said in your statement. And that one word was purpose. How profound that is, because when you're at home, and unless you have a purpose, you will stay at home. It's just like going out to the gym. Well, you got to take that first step and get up and go. But that's not what your parents are doing. They are going because of that purpose. And how can you obtain that purpose if you didn't have a welcoming environment in the first place? And that's why they're still going. Congrats to you. Now, I don't know if you know this. I attended a meeting out in the Bay Shore, seniors, and not only does Opal cook for the seniors at Westlake, but she now cooks for 4 different locations every day in the city of Daly City.
Oh, wow.
You see, and that little aspect has really taken off, and it's not easy. And you understand that as well. So I just thought I'd let you know you are definitely a true testament which validates and verifies the need for continued services for our seniors in this city. I'm proud to be a founding member of the city's age-friendly committee, to which we are steadily in the process of making plans specifically for our seniors in Daly City, even to be recognized and accepted and certified by the WHO organization, World Health Organization. So rest assured, this is only the beginning. And believe me, where there's a will, as council member said, there is a way. We will be looking to make it even better. I thank you. Thank you to the community, and thank you to the staff for everything you continue to do for the city, and with yourself being a testament to that. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Okay. You sure your parents don't want to say anything? Yeah. Come on.
Mom, you stay.
All right. Yeah.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
My name's Eddie, and then just we are very happy. Me and my wife joined the Dojo Center, and I especially and can tell my wife she want to join every day,
There you go.
nonstop. And then it's just she very happy like before. So and I all the time and I'm with not join with her, but she join with pickleball and line dance and other kinds, a lot of activity. But I just joined the OG ball, and she's my teacher.
Yes.
And a billiard and ping pong. So, but anyway, my daughter said I just leave behind in my house. That is a dojo center. I've been living in here over 47 years in Daly City in same house. And then I knew that already in at the dojo center. But on that time, I still busy and not. I heard that, but now I joined the dojo center because my son-in-law and my daughter, she say, and they say, "Hey, you guys so boring at home. Why you join the dojo center? That's a good community." So and they call the center and to Karen and his assistant is what the name? Benjamin. So and call Benjamin and tell Benjamin and my daddy have to join your center. So and so I say, but you have to go. I make a reservation already. I make a date with Ben already. So we both went to the office and say, I'm a so and so, and then my daughter sent me here to join the community. So and then on that time, so I just 3 months ago, in July,
Oh, wow.
and then it's just, I know the great people like Karen. Yeah, I hope. You're a great person. And I'm Ariane. So they treat me very nice. And then I found out all the employee in the dojo center and whatever they volunteer or employee. Everybody very nice. Some professional, waiter professional job, but they volunteer. So I found, wow, how come this community, they set things so nice, they operation so good, all the program, we like it. But some of the program, I like it, but now I'm 85. I can, I cannot do the too exciting. Yeah. That's why I'm really, I very lucky with two daughters, Sylvia and Cindy. So and they very care about me or my wife, and that's why I'm on the get the show on that day, and lucky they call 911 right away, and the ambulance that behind the dojo center they came, and then I survived today. Yeah. I doctor say to me, If you later than 20 minutes, you get stroke, you get paralyzed. If you later than 30 minutes, your heart stop. I cannot see you guy or anymore. Yeah, that's why I'm lucky. Thank you. So I'm happy to come here. I just let you know, guys. I lucky still alive. I lucky meet all the good people. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I wish we could end our meeting right now. Thank you. Thank you for that. We needed that. So, thank you. All right, let's move on to item number 2, which is the Driving for Equity. Presenting is Fernando Montañez. Fernando. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Fernando.
Hello, hello. Just want to add on to the comments. My grandmother, when she was still alive, goes to Dolger a lot too. So,
Oh,
yeah, I have a lot of good memories there too.
very good.
But yeah, anyways, good evening, council, mayor, vice mayor, honorable council members. My name is Fernando Montanez. Some of you may know me as a new member for the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee. Some of you might know me as a board member for the Filipino Bayanihan Resource Center. Some of you might even know me as a former student. But today I am wearing a new hat as the community liaison for an up-and-coming youth-led nonprofit called Driving for Equity. So today, we'd like to invite you to a clothing drive that is happening this weekend. But before I do that, I want to just talk about the background for Driving for Equity. It was created by 3 high school students, Samantha, Angelica, and Tet from our local high schools, Westmore and Jefferson. And they had 2 issues in mind when creating this, combating homelessness and fast fashion. According to a 2017 report from the San Mateo County government, there was 637 homeless people living in the county. And in recent reports in 2022, that number increased to 1,000. And they also found, besides this jarring and shocking statistics, they also found it really shocking that there wasn't a lot of resources that were available for the homeless to get resources and services. And one resource that we tend to overlook and even take for granted is clothing. Anyone who lives in Daly City know that our winter is really, really cold. And with November and December coming, a lot of homeless people need warm clothing, a lot of jackets, bonnets, and sorts, and even a lot of other articles of clothing like undergarments and any intimate clothing. We tend to take those for granted. And so Driving for Equity wants to assure that every homeless people at least gets clothing. And another issue that they want to also address is this idea of fast fashion. And this whereas huge companies like H&M, Forever 21, and Shein, they mass produce clothing to meet the high demands for high luxury clothing brands. But the issue is they produce these clothings with low wages, non-environmentally friendly practices, and some of those clothes, or most of those clothings, just end up in the dumps, not being used, not being recycled, refurbished for other people, like the homeless people that could really use it. And so this coming weekend on October 28th and 29th, we have a clothing drive that's happening from 10 to 4 p.m. And I know this weekend has a lot of events, I'm aware. And so if you can just, spend 5 minutes, dig to your closet, your wardrobe. I'm sure you have some old children clothing that have been overgrown, some jackets you're not using. Stop by, get to meet the kids, get to meet the leaders of Driving for Equity, and really understand that what they're doing is great community work. A lot of the one issue or one answer that comes up when it comes to like, why are they starting this? It's because there's not a lot of youth-led nonprofits or not a lot of youth-led anything that's addressing these kinds of issues. And so Samantha, Angelica, and Ted are just 3 out of a whole lot more student leaders that are stepping up, no longer waiting to lead the future, they're leading it now. And so just a little backstory of how I got to know them. They won this grant back in June of 2023 from the Youth Leadership Institute of $4,000 in order to use for their projects for Driving for Equity. And they needed a fiscal sponsor to access that grant because they don't have the 501c3 status that other nonprofits have. And so they reached out to me because they know my nonprofit background from PBRC and Kapwa Cultural Center, whose fiscal sponsor is Daly City Partnership. And so I got to have the privilege of connecting them with Daly City Partnership. And back in September, they became their fiscal sponsor. And that's how they got their grant money. And they're really rolling the ball and getting the gears rolling to get their projects funded, get everything from their plans to come to fruition. Little future update, but besides the clothing drive this weekend, they're also planning another basic necessities drive in late mid-December, where they will be collecting, besides clothes, hygienic products, menstrual products, and other basic necessities that they will be collecting, which they will be assembling in February into basic necessities kits that they will be dispersing all throughout San Mateo County's homeless shelters. So that's the goal. And the magic number that they're going for is 200 basic necessities kits by the end of February. And so we'd like to invite the council, the community to really just, stop by. I'm sure there's a lot of clothes that you're not wearing anymore or you even forgot in your closet. Just put them in a bag, say hi to the student leaders, and yeah, we can really use your support and your time. So thank you so much for your time. Again, I want to thank the mayor and vice mayor who got to chat with the students back in Kasayahan who gave the invitation to speak today. They couldn't make it because they're high school seniors and it is really busy right now for them. So I just want to give them a quick shout out for giving me this opportunity to speak on their behalf. So thank you so much. Oh yeah, it is at March Banks. Thank you for that question. It's at March Banks by Mission. So yeah, any questions or comments?
Yeah, can I ask, so we donate the clothes to you folks, that's on October 28th. How do the clothing actually get to the homeless that need it?
Yeah, so once the clothings and the basic necessities are acquired, they will be put into kits, and then the students themselves will be driving throughout the county, going into different homeless shelters throughout the county and giving it to them directly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you don't actually like walk on the streets and give people the
No, yeah, we go directly to homeless shelters for them.
the shelters?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's really good work that they're trying to do and that you're helping them. And I think that's something that we should always strive to care for and continuing to do it. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
I know we have some comments, so go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for Mando for doing this presentation. I think it's amazing that Samantha, Angelica, and Tet had really, as young people, brought this project together to help those that are most in need. What this does, it makes me really have hope for our future, that there's a care for those that are most in need and also care about our environment. And it's hitting those two aspects, right? We know that there's a rise in homelessness and that we also know that climate change is real. And so to the studious students, please relay that I will definitely try to stop by. I think this also coincides with our Make a Difference Day. That even though it's the same day, there's different opportunities for people to give back. And so would request maybe on our social media, we can support the youth by providing an opportunity to share this with others, with city staff. And I see nodding already. Thank you very much, City Manager Tom Picoletti and also Leilani for that. But thank you for being here today, representing the youth, and thank you for all that you do. It's really giving me hope that seniors and high school students from all three, how many high schools?
The two high schools, so
Two
Westmore
high
and
schools,
Jeff.
so
Yeah.
Jefferson and
Westmore.
Westmore. Look at that.
Former
Well,
round here, so I'm
I
proud
know.
too.
So Jefferson and Westmore,
Yeah.
team sports and
Yeah.
everything, but for the greater good, I love that. I mean, for those that are local, you know what I'm talking about. But thank you very much.
Go ahead, Dr. Wright.
Fernando, thanks for coming through and speaking. I think these past two items, these are things that just bring out the best qualities out of Daly City in terms of its understanding of service and understanding of community. And then also just, bringing it all the way back down to also research when we talk about what makes communities healthy. And what makes communities healthy are people that can think beyond themselves. And when they get all their basic needs met, like what is it beyond themselves that can provide services for others so that the community can be community actualized. So thank you for providing this opportunity for our communities to check out. I'll also put this on my class discussion boards as well. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Well, Fernando, I want to say first, thank the youth for putting this together. And it also addresses a lot of issues, like you said, the human kindness and being able to give back to those who have fallen short, maybe on their rent, or we don't know the circumstances, nor should we judge other people
Right.
and whatever can happen to them. And if you're looking for the grant end as well, I have seen grants because this does address the climate change. I watched a PBS series that you might want to look up. I forgot the name, but it did show that countries actually sending all our clothing, leftover clothing, and it ends up in mounds and mounds in places like Indonesia
Right.
and all these, and you see children climbing on top of these clothing and not using the clothing,
Right.
but there's so much mounds, and actually countries are doing that. That's shameful,
Right.
right? Because that's not closing the loop either, right? On what we need to do is in our environment. And who better than the youth to actually lead on climate change, humanitarian, like you said, homeless, engaging other youth, letting them know what the real issues are here. Because local is local and it matters. Because there's a lot of great other issues out there, but sometimes we need to bring it down, and it proves that if Jefferson and Westmore can work together, any of us can work together because, the rival thing, but
Right.
somehow I'm not believing that. They all love each other anyway. But I think it's a great program, and I'm looking forward to promoting it. And I'll send it around to some of the, even the pastors and the rabbi and whomever that, can start doing that, because I know you'll have it more than once.
Right.
And do we come by, is it do we bring it in a box or?
Boxes,
good for you.
bags, as long as they're in some sort of.
And we want to make sure,
Yeah.
obviously, I want to try to make sure gently used is what I'm going to tell
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
And then, because, we need to make sure that people can actually wear the clothing.
Correct.
And then when you do the hygienic projects and things like that, we also need there's a big shortage for, I understand, for children's diapers. That there's a huge shortage because they're so expensive. So I know that a lot of us don't have a lot, but I have a cookie or two a week. I can do without that. So whether we can all give back, and every little bit helps. And it's a blessing to have them in the community. Looking forward to great things. I think this is very tasteful, very humbly, and done for the community. So thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Sylvester.
Thank you for coming in, Mr. Montez. I've heard your name before, and I'm glad that I can put a face to the name.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you can use 3X clothing.
All sizes are welcome.
No. I'm being facetious here. To lead me to a particular point, I do have 7 grandchildren with one on the way, but they're very good at hand-me-downs.
Right.
Very good. But hearing Councilmember Di Giovanni make mention, as grandparents, we always try to prepare for the future and stock up on things. You remember the days of COVID where everybody's buying that toilet paper and whatnot? We must got boxes of diapers, and we don't talk about the small boxes, we're talking about the big
Right.
boxes. So it's good to know that you'll accept diapers. But anyway, to the subject at hand, what I got from your presentation was the historical aspect that you provided, and you said something. You said something about Daly City being very cold.
Right.
And you're right, but we are on the boundary line with what city?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. And if you know about the Mark Twain quote, there's a little education here. The coldest winter I spent
It's a summer in San Francisco.
in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So, how definitely appropriate in the need for clothing. And, I try to put all those together as I listen to you speak. What I will say is, what impressed me most about driving for equity, based upon your statement, it is youth-led. I have never, ever heard of a 501c3 organization.
Oh, for the record, we don't have the status of 501.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're moving towards it.
Up to the students, but yeah.
All right, well, I'll tell you this much. Move towards that if you can, all right? Because it's very, very important. As a council member and council members throughout the state, we attend training up in Sacramento. One of those the trainings called Cal Cities. And one of the vendors there, who's a big vendor, gave me their card and says, if you know of any 501c3 organizations, write to us and we'll give them money. So I'm going to put that out there to you. I think your program is very unique and unique that it's youth-led. I think you're putting together something that's different. Continue. And nothing can come out of it but greatness. So congratulations, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. All right.
All right, let me just, can you say the date and the location and your place where they can find more information?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Go ahead.
So the clothing drive is this weekend, Saturday, October 28th, and Sunday, October 29th, from 10 to 4 at March Banks. If you want to learn more information, currently the only social media that the Driving for Equity has is on Instagram,
Okay,
which is at Driving for Equity. So if you want to learn more, we'll be there.
great. Thank you, Fernando.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, moving on to our next item is item number 3, which is the approval of the minutes of the special meeting of October 10th.
Motion to approve.
I have a
Minutes.
motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Hearing none, those minutes are approved. Let's go on to the approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve agenda.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. Public appearances, oral communications. I have a speaker card, but it's on items number 7 and 8. But does anyone else have any public appearances, oral communications? No? No, okay. Let's go on to the consent agenda. So I have a speaker card on items 7 and 8, so I'm going to pull number 7, which is the automated license plate reader program, and number 8, which is the unmanned aerial system. Other than those two, do any council members have a request to pull an item? Go ahead, Mr.
Yeah,
Giovanni.
through the mayor, item number 4.
All right, item number
Please.
4, which
Thank
is
you.
the American Rescue Plan Act. Any other requests? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve items number 5 and 6?
Motion to approve items number 5 and 6.
Can I get a second?
Second?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any objection?
If you can get back, also number 9.
Oh, number 9, okay.
Friendly
Fi-
amendment.
5, 6, and 9, sorry about that. Okay, amendment, Madam Vice Mayor,
Inclusive of item number 9.
you accept that amendment? Ms.
Pardon?
Giovanni?
Yes.
All right, well, let's do the vote again. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Hearing none's item 4, I'm sorry, item 5, 6, and 9 are approved. Let's go back now to item number 4, which is the American Rescue Plan Act and and state and local fiscal recovery fund expenditures, and adopt a resolution to amend ARPA capital projects. Hi, good evening.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. My name is Abby Fieser. I'm the Assistant Director of Finance and Administrative Services. And we are bringing tonight an item to do an update on the use of the American Rescue Plan Act funds, as well as adopting a resolution to amend some of the ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act capital projects. So just kind of a quick recap of what was in the staff report. As you all may remember, back in March of 2021, we did have the American Rescue Plan Act funding. The city of Daly City was fortunate to receive $25.26 million of this funding to help support our recovery from the pandemic. Originally, the City Council approved a budget plan for this ARPA funding at its November 22nd, 2021 City Council meeting. Attachment A is a summary of the initial budget that the City Council adopted at that meeting back in November. As you can see, we had all of the $25.26 million allocated in the budget, and then to date, we have had 15.75 approximately of operating budget spent or obligated of those funds, and we've had about 1.6 of the capital project money spent or obligated. And that's as of the end of fiscal year 2023, so that's as of June 30th, 2023. Then in June of 2023, before the end of the fiscal year, we did bring an item to the council to discuss going ahead and putting the bulk of the ARPA money into revenue loss recovery, because the city, now that we've kind of lived through a couple of years, have seen that we did lose $20 million in revenue. Actually, it's $21 million now that I did the calculation for 2023. But we've lost $21 million in revenue due to the pandemic. And so we're putting the remaining bit of American Rescue Plan Act monies into revenue loss recovery, which really goes right to the general fund and helps support our general fund. However, we're going to continue to support the capital projects that the council adopted as part of that budget. We'll just be supplanting the American Rescue Plan Act funding with the general fund money. So there will still be a slight surplus of funding that will go and support the overall general fund balance, and then part of it will go to support the ongoing projects. And actually, if you wouldn't mind showing attachment B, you'll see these are the, again, the majority of the funding that's not obligated or spent is in the capital project side. And as part of ARPA, we had until December 2024 to spend it. By moving it to general fund, it also gives us the benefit of having a little more time to spend the funding. So as you can see, of the $9 million that was originally budgeted, we've obligated or spent about $1.6 million. We're going to move 5.9 into the general fund. So we're going to back fund ARPA funds with general fund. And then the water fund's going to pick up 1.6 million. Mostly that's for the drinking water, the well project that's being used in that department. So this is basically what your action tonight will be, moving the money into the general fund for capital projects as well as into the water fund for capital projects. So that'll be the kind of behind the scenes, so that as we get to completing those projects, it will be funded with those different funding sources rather than ARPA. And I think that's it, unless you guys have any questions
Go ahead,
about the
Mr.
program.
Yeah, thank you, Abby. Really appreciate it. I just wanted to make sure that if we decide to move it, as you suggest, then obviously will that give us the number that we need for our reserves as well?
It will. So what we'll do is, in the last, actually, if you go back to attachment A for me. In the previous 2 fiscal years, we've put $5 million towards the general fund budget. So most likely, given that we're moving that 7.4 million into general fund, we'll be able to put some money in this year to help us, and potentially, again, because we have until December 2024, so then we'll be able to put something probably in the 2025 fiscal
Okay.
year as well, depending upon, how our general fund is going.
The economy. And
Yeah.
does that give Mr. Chu all the money he needs for the capital projects?
He will still have all the
So I
funding.
know we have a lot that are overdue, Mr. Chu, which is not, you've been waiting for those capital projects, but we want to make sure you have the monies to make sure that they do. So how many capital projects will we be able to secure with this money?
Well, this will actually just be funding capital projects that we already committed to. We
Okay.
originally committed to it with ARPA, but instead we'll be using the general fund to pay
For
for
the,
that.
in the infrastructure
Yes.
area, right?
Yeah, so those projects will continue, which they are important because they are building projects
Oh,
that
yeah.
have been difficult to fund.
Yeah, so we're still using for the same purposes, but we're just moving the money to the general fund, so that money cannot be used for other things.
That's correct.
Okay, because it is originally from ARPA. Is that correct? Just want to make sure. So thank you. I just want to make sure Mr. Chu has the money, because I know he's got a list, as well as wastewater with their project as well. Thank you.
Any
Thank you
other
very much,
questions or
Mayor.
comments? Go ahead, Mr. Sylvester.
Ms. Fisa, thank you for giving us an update today. Can you scroll down on that slide to the last line? Free community Wi-Fi. I see the initial budget was 511,000, and so far we've spent 485,000. How's that project coming along?
So I'll just clarify that spent or obligated means that it's either spent or it could be in a purchase order that hasn't been spent yet.
Okay.
So a big portion of that project, the funding is still sitting in a purchase order to be spent. And I don't know if Director Chu wants to come talk about the status of that project. But I'll let him.
Yes, in regards to the Bayshore Community Wi-Fi project, that project, we did have some challenges in regards to working with PG&E and getting the approval from PG&E. We've gone through several iterations with them. We just recently submitted some revised layout plans for PG&E to approve. We think this round will be something that they would be able to approve in regards to use of their poles to mount these pieces of equipment on. So we're waiting for a response back from PG&E, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that this round will do the trick in terms of getting their approval.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chu. Basically, I do remember this project, and I think it's a great project to place in a community that is underserved. And I'm glad to hear that we're still moving towards it. So thank you both very much. That's all I have.
Go ahead, Madam Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I think one question I have is, you said there's about 21 million due to revenue loss. And what is it, the culmination of that? Is it sales tax? Like, what is different percentages of, or where the revenue loss
Yeah.
allocation?
So we don't have a specific percentage. We actually, one of the things that I get the $21 million figure from is this federal government has a very specific process through which we take all of our revenues from a baseline year of 2019 and compare it to our actual revenues that we've received. So that's why we didn't actually know how much we lost until we've been through it. But as you said, the majority of the funding is actually sales tax. That was where we had the biggest hit in our funding. So I don't have a proportion for some of the other sources that were hit, but we did have some, especially in our programs and charges for recreation programming and things like that, where we weren't running programs. We had losses in revenue for that. What actually hurt us was because we had a good revenue gain on the measure that was approved, that actually hurt our calculations. So in some ways, we had an artificial boost to our revenue, whereas really the sales tax would normally have been much lower than it was because we had the measure money that came in just as kind of COVID was going underway.
Got it. So as far as the assessment and actuals, when you finally did the analyzing it, that's where we ended up.
Yeah, when you compare kind of where our revenue was in 2019 to where it could have been in the 3 years since the pandemic, it was about $21 million we could have gotten.
Okay. I think something comes to mind in regards to our sales tax. I want us to look, if possible, at, I know there was a law that was passed in regards to point of sale for deliveries. And so I think it was moved from point of sale in where they're held at warehouses or, and I want to know if that affected us in some way in regards to, like there's, instead of retail tax, there's a lot of deliveries and just an assessment on that and the shift of how people shop. But I do know, I encourage those watching out there, I know that, to continue to buy local, shop at Ceremony, Westlake. But I just wanted to know if that was some shift. But thank you for the programming and as far as the analysis and evaluating where we're at to this point and all your work.
All right. Any other questions or comments? No? Okay, can I get a motion to approve this item?
Motion to approve?
Second?
In favor, say aye.
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 Objection, hearing none, that item is approved. All right, let's go on to item number 7, which is set time and place of a public hearing for the approval to implement an automated license plate reader program. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Vice Mayor, Council. How are you this evening?
Good, how are you?
Good. The Police Department is asking City Council to set November 13th, 2023 as time and City Council chambers as place for a public hearing to approve an automated license plate reader program, as well as to authorize the city to enter a contract with Flock and Axon for ALPR systems and deployment. The Police Department currently has 8 automated license plate reader systems, 5 of which are attached to patrol cars, 2 which are affixed to parking enforcement vehicles, and 1 affixed to a trailer. ALPR technology scans license plates at a high rate of speed and cross-checks those license plates against law enforcement databases. These systems have provided valuable information to police officers by providing immediate notification of wanted and stolen vehicles and missing persons, as well as supporting efficient investigations into criminal activity. The Police Department complies with California Civil Code Section 1798.90.5 regarding ALPR technologies. Public agencies are required to provide an opportunity for public comment at a regularly scheduled public meeting of the governing body of the public agency before implementing or changing the existing program. The Police Department is harnessing technology to address crime impacting our community. Vehicle and retail-related theft have become prominent issues, as has the general desire to reduce any other crime impacting quality of life. ALPR technology provides real-time information to police officers on patrol by providing on-screen alerts for license plates identified within controlled law enforcement databases. These alerts are often related to missing persons and license plates entered into the stolen vehicle system associated to criminal activity. The associated ALPR database provides crucial investigative information towards solving crimes, as well as supporting efforts towards locating wanted for criminal activity. It's important to note that our ALPR program will not be used for administrative enforcement purposes under the California Values Act, will not be used for general surveillance, nor will be shared with agencies outside of California without a court order. The ALPR program will include fixed ALPR devices provided by Flock, as well as the activation of ALPR capabilities of our current Axon Fleet 3 dash cameras in the police department vehicles. Both systems integrate with each other and play a pivotal role in early notification and prevention of criminal activity in our communities. Fixed ALPR devices will be strategically placed on crime patterns affecting the city or in locations of ingress or egress in the city. Understanding criminal activity often comes from outside of our city limits. These devices will alert on-duty personnel to license plates entered in law enforcement databases, as well as provide information towards solving reported criminal acts. Our current Axon Fleet 3 dash camera system record activity through the windshield of equipped vehicles during emergency responses or activity. Cameras can act as a mobile ALPR system. Activating the ALPR on these existing cameras will support immediate notification to the officer's in-car computer. An added benefit is the automation of license plate inquiries, reducing the need for manual input by the officer. This technology is also valuable for documenting license plates during critical incident investigations. Incorporating an integrated fixed and mobile ALPR program ensures a comprehensive approach and therefore supports improvements in quality of life for our community through a reduction in crime and increased efficiencies conducting investigations. The automation of ALPR technology ensures accuracy and real-time alerts. However, it will be the officer's responsibility to further verify the reason for the alert through other means before taking any enforcement action. The ALPR program will only be used to reduce crime through real-time alerting and to increase efficiency during investigations for reported crimes. Access to ALPR systems and databases require individual logins, ensuring controlled access and the ability to audit inquiries and use. Inquiries and related databases require a need to know and a right to know. This is consistent with state and federal database inquiries for law enforcement purposes. Users must provide a reason for inquiries, detailed enough to recall for the intent during audits. General inquiries or surveillance will not be permitted. ALPR technology is a significant force multiplier for law enforcement officers, pivotal in a time where police officer staffing limits have been challenged. Fixed and mobile ALPR programs are currently in use by almost all San Mateo County agencies and a vast majority of agencies within the region, as well as by private businesses and residential associations within Daly City. Our ALPR program would allow for the activation of Axon Fleet dash cameras, as well as the installation of fixed ALPR cameras provided by Flock, an industry leader in ALPR technology, and currently the solution being deployed in nearly all ALPR programs within the Bay Area. Flock provides a cost-effective and managed solution, best meeting the needs for the department. ALPR data is stored in law enforcement compliant databases and follows strict retention and purge schedules. Our ALPR data is retained in vendor-specific databases like our current ALPR data will ultimately be uploaded into the California Regional Intelligence Center database. This data is retained for 1 year, which is the general industry standard, and NCRIC has the highest level of database security in the industry. And I'm sorry, the Northern California Regional Intelligence Center is NCRIC. NCRIC follows strict access requirements and conducts formal audits into access and data retrieval. NCRIC retains nearly all San Mateo County agencies' ALPR data as well as ALPR data outside of our county. Fiscal impact is activating Axon's Fleet 3 dash camera ALPR solution in our existing body-worn camera and patrol vehicle camera contract costs $18,290 per year for our current fleet of patrol vehicles. Initial funding was already approved for the expansion of our police department's Axon program through Measure Q funds in the fiscal year 23-24 budget. The department requests funding for the additional 2 years of the Axon Fleet ALPR in the amount of $36,580 be covered by Measure Q funds moving forward. The first year of the 3-year Flock contract includes the initial lease and installation costs of an estimated 45 Flock cameras in our city and is estimated to cost $150,000. Funding for the first year of the contract was previously appropriated in the fiscal year 23-24 budget through Measure Q funds. After the first year, the annual contract amount is estimated to cost $135,000 per year for the remaining 2 years of the contract. Funding for the remaining 2 years, estimated in the amount of $270,000, is requested to be supported through Measure Q funds, which will be brought to council for those budget years. Additional funding in the amount of $476,500 was acquired through the BSCC Organized Retail Theft Grant to support and fully fund the cost of an additional estimated 42 Flock cameras for the next 3 years, which was accepted by council on September 25th of 2023. Flock's proprietary software algorithms improve the recognition of license plates and vehicle descriptors when paired with Flock's proprietary and advanced ALPR cameras, and directly integrate with the Axon Fleet ALPR solution, further supporting investigations. Flock was recently awarded a competitive bid for a smaller-sized agency in San Mateo County due to their low and competitive prices. Daly City has extended the same prices on the majority of the cameras, qualifying this as a piggyback purchase under Daly City Municipal Code Section 3.12.020. A small subset of cameras is required to be purchased as a sole source due to the proprietary software and hardware and to ensure compatibility with the rest of the solution. Staff is available to provide answers to any questions if you have them.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I do have a speaker card on this issue. Mr. Diodore? Oh, come on up.
Hi, my name is Judor, a resident here. I'm just
asking for the city council, Daly City, our law enforcement, just to also consider, because I'm pretty sure I heard it, the language there too, from the ACLU, like the 5 points that they have in regards towards automated license plates reading. So the first of the 5 points was license plate readers may be used by law enforcement agencies only to investigate hits and in other circumstances in which law enforcement agents reasonably believe that the plate data are relevant to an ongoing criminal investigation. 2, the government must not store data about innocent people for any lengthy period. Unless plate data has been flagged, retention periods should be measured in days or weeks, not months, and certainly not years. Point number 3, people should be able to find out if plate data of vehicles registered to them are contained in a law enforcement agency's database. 4, law enforcement agencies should not share license plate reader data with third parties that do not follow proper retention and access principles. They should also be transparent regarding with whom they share license plate reader data. And 5, any entity that uses license plate readers should be required to report its usage publicly on at least an annual basis. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Diodore. All right, any other comments or questions? Go ahead, Mr. Sylvester.
If I can have the Assistant Chief come on back up for a question or questions.
Good evening,
Thank you, sir. Let's forget about automated license plate readers.
Okay.
15 years ago, what would the officer do at the beginning of his or her shift in regards to stolen vehicles?
Typically, we would sit in a briefing. There would be a hot list that was distributed by a local entity within the county that you worked for or your individual department, and you would read them off in briefing, and you would write them on a notepad, or if they were small enough of a list, on the back of your hand.
Thank you very much. Would it also be a term called hot sheet?
Yes.
And if you had too many vehicles, because I know it's usually numerical, 0 to 9. So if you create a hot sheet, such as the size of 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, what would you do with that hot sheet?
You would distribute it to the patrol officers.
And what would the officer do? Put it in his or her pocket?
Well, hopefully they would stick it on the little clip they had in the center console of their car, but yes.
And as they roll down the street, and they see a vehicle that looks like it might be stolen, what would they do?
They'd have to cross-check the license plate with their hot sheet on a piece of paper.
And if it's not on the hot sheet, what would they do?
Well, they could either call it in through a radio. 15 years ago, let me think. I think I had a computer in my car.
Right.
But yeah, I'd have to manually enter that and distract from their driving down to the computer.
So call it in, or if they see a vehicle, it could not even be a stolen vehicle, but manually enter the vehicle. How long does it take to manually enter a vehicle?
If you were good at your craft and you could do it without looking down, it would take you 10 seconds to enter the plate, and then the returns could take anywhere from 30 seconds, but then you'd have to toggle through multiple returns through the state database.
So in the case of automated license plate reader, you said that it takes out the manual entry because it scans the plate.
Correct.
And how fast can you be moving on the road for it to scan the vehicle? 15 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour?
And then some. I don't know the exact number, but yeah, I think you can be traveling freeway speeds as an example. At the Bay Bridge or every bridge crossing, those are basically automated license plate readers that capture your license plate and charge your fast track. So you can be traveling at standard speeds for the given.
So if it picks up on a vehicle that is neither stolen or has not been used in the commission of a crime, do you maintain that information?
It is maintained in a database, yes.
And how long is it maintained for?
Based on current law standards, it's maintained for up to 1 year through the Northern California Regional Intelligence Center.
Okay. So basically, without the ALPR, in the absence of it, it could be a hit or miss. in identifying a vehicle.
Yes.
So if somebody commits a crime, like say at Serramonte, and they take off, and if you have an ALPR, say at one of the freeway entrances, and somebody had given a description of the vehicle, because you don't know other than the description, like say it was a black sedan, but if it said that I couldn't get the whole license plate, but I got 3 letters, and the ALR picks up those 3 letters, could that possibly be a subject vehicle?
It won't hit on.
Suspect vehicle, rather.
Yeah, it won't hit on a partial plate necessarily, but the information that's retained in the system allows investigators to go back after the fact. So if you're the victim of a crime and you catch three numbers of the license plate, we can use those 3 numbers, put them into the system. It'll provide vehicles that match those 3 numbers. And then from there, you can start to sort out if it was what color car it was it a sedan, was it something to that extent, to narrow down your field of your investigation to potentially come up with a suspect, yes.
So basically, when you said force multiplier, it would save personnel on time. One is going down the street at a slow rate of speed, whereas they can cover a lot more area without having to go that slow. The other is personnel time to save time instead of having to manually type in the information. And do we have any prior stats on stolen vehicles without the use of ALPR?
Do you have that with you?
Like, say, 5 years ago, how many stolen vehicles has Daly City PD recovered without the use of ALPR? And, it's a good question to ask, and you're asking for this to come back before council.
Correct.
I think it would be a good idea to have that information. Like, if you have ALPR in use right now, I think you made mention it's in a couple of vehicles. I think a good idea, how many stolen vehicles have been recovered by the use of ALPR versus a hit or miss and say, oh, let me run that plate and see if it's stolen. So what I want to do is validate the need to have ALPR. And not only for stolen vehicles, but the use of investigative purposes when needed, only for investigative. You said in your statement there that it's not to be used for surveillance or the monitoring of people, but basically where a criminal investigation or a crime has occurred.
That is correct. It's very specifically covered under current applicable law that it cannot be accessed for anything other than an ongoing criminal investigation. Every inquiry into the system has to be an individual login with an associated CAD or incident number or case number and the reason for the inquiry. So that way we can always go through an audit. And NCRIC does do scheduled audits through their system where they will go through, pull out certain inquiries that were done, send it back to the police department, make the police department justify inquiry purposes. So everything is tracked, and we will have a much more robust presentation on the 13th.
Okay.
To include PowerPoint presentation and some statistics that will help, I think, demonstrate. It might be a little difficult anecdotally to speak towards if we had ALPRs, how successful we would be, but I think we could probably pull some stats from some other agencies that implemented them. And I can tell you just from use cases, anecdotally speaking, again, being that almost every agency in San Mateo County and the larger Bay Area region has them, has seen tremendous success. And it's really one of the things that every, I think, almost grant applicant for the retail theft grant applied for and incorporated Flock as well as part of, I don't know what the percentage for that is, but a substantial amount of them did Flock for that exact purpose.
All right, well, I think it's very important for the public to know about the auditing aspects of any computer system used by law enforcement. Like you made mention, an officer, he or she has to log in, and they have to have the proper credentials to log in, and whatever they do while they're logged in is tracked. And every so often, the database that's providing the information will basically audit themselves and just look like who logged in and what is it that they were looking for. I remember the old days, officers got in trouble for running O.J. Simpson. And they didn't have the need to do that, not unless they were involved in an active investigation where an incident occurred in Los Angeles, but they're up here in the North Bay running a particular subject. So good information to know. I'm looking forward to hearing more about the use of the system. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I respond to
Yeah,
the
go
public inquiry, just real quick? We were aware of the ACLU qualifications or requests out of ALPR use. We have taken all that into consideration. I'll make sure that I answer that clearly at the next presentation, but we do only use it for ongoing investigation purposes. The 1-year retention period is the standard applicable law currently in use in the Bay Area region through NCRIC as well. The FLOC does have a transparency portal that will show the ability for the community to log into the system and see certain things about that system. So we'll bring that at the presentation as well. We do not share outside of the state of California, which I know is one of the concerns of ACLU as it relates to federal laws and the state's interpretation of those laws. They don't want that information to be shared out with certain other states. So we've made it clear in our policy that we will not share outside of the state of California. And I'll get further information on the last one about individual license plate being able to check their own to see if it's been ran.
All right, thank you. Okay, can I get a motion to approve item number 7?
Motion to approve item number 7.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Action, hearing none, that item is approved. Thank you. Let's move on to item number 8, which is to approve the purchase of an unmanned aerial system for use by the police department. Go ahead.
Good evening. So the department is requesting City Council approve the purchase of unmanned aerial systems for the use by the police department. The use of aerial support has long been a critical asset for police departments, one commonly challenging to acquire due to cost, resource needs, or general availability. While we have had success with mutual aid requests for aerial support, resources, weather, or air traffic control restrictions frequently prohibit accessibility. The evolution of the UAS, or unmanned aerial system, in the law enforcement profession has quickly become a viable option to the aerial support component and provides for a solution to a critical asset to support responses to high risk and critical incidents, as well as during community caretaking situations. UASs are listed in Assembly Bill 481, which was the military equipment use legislation passed last year, and Daly City Municipal Code 9.56, which was enacted to cover that. And as such, require council approval for acquisition and use for in a law enforcement capacity. You can go to the first slide. The police department has long relied on aerial support such as fixed-wing airplanes, helicopters, and UASs from regional allied agencies. These air assets have effectively supported pre-planned tactical operations, high-risk and critical incident overwatch, subject apprehension, and community caretaking situations involving missing persons, cliff rescues, and search operations. Air assets have proven successful, however, availability and often restricted due to airspace and environmental conditions. Several local and regional police departments in the Greater Bay Area have turned to the UAS programs due to the ease of deployment and lower altitude ceiling to overcome aerial support challenges. And most of that was covered in the presentation slide up there. Next one. The police department believes a UAS program would greatly support organizational efficiency and, more importantly, improve the safety of the community and our officers during critical incidents or during search operations. The use of the UASs will be strictly controlled and monitored through policy and procedure requirements to include the following. General surveillance will not be permitted unless by court order or search warrant. The UASs will not be weaponized in any manner. Only used for communication and observational purposes. They can have cameras, thermal imaging, and then a speaker to communicate with subjects if need be. Deployment requires supervisor approval on duty and subsequent notification to the chief of police for every use. Pilots must be certified and follow FAA requirements. Measures taken to reduce unintended video of private spaces, backyards, and inside residence will be taken. Programs are managed and audited by a UAS coordinator for compliance. Next one. As UASs are covered under military equipment use policy, all operational use will be reported to the council annually as required. All UAS deployments deployment video will be recorded to our axonevidence.com system and will follow and comply with the same policy and procedure that our current body-worn and fleet programs are governed by. The use of a UAS will only be permitted during planned or spontaneous operational purposes where the use of the UAS will enhance officer response and safety for all those involved. Examples of deployments would be community caretaking situations to include tracking of dangerous animals, cliff search and rescue operations for stranded hikers, down paragliders, etc., searches for missing persons or those in distress whose whereabouts are unknown or include large open spaces, planned high-risk tactical operations benefiting from an overwatch perspective to support the safety of officers and the community, during critical incidents requiring an officer search operation, such as an active burglary scene, reported armed subjects in a neighborhood or open area, responses to violent or armed subjects or those potentially experiencing a mental health crisis, where the UAS would provide an opportunity to tactically plan a safe approach, providing for adequate resources and the ability to de-escalate and reduce the likelihood of confrontation. To clear residences or buildings during lawful searches involving suspicious circumstances, active threats, or pursuant to a court order or search warrant, or during the management of open space fires, potential natural disasters, or hazmat scenes. And this is just a quick video of this is actually a helicopter. This was a call for service in Daly City a few years back. Of an armed person on our border. You have to press it one more time for the video to play. It's just a short video that shows basically what a UAS video would look like. Nope, gotta go back. And so then this again was a mutual aid request, I believe of a CHP helicopter that flew down from up north and supported. This is a nighttime call for service with armed subjects. You can see people in the vehicle at the right side of the screen, and the person on the left was hiding behind a portion of that building, was unseen to officers at the time. So the helicopter operator was able to identify where the people were, and this person had been walking around that general location armed for quite a while, and then started to hide once we got on scene, and the helicopter operator was able to inform the officers that you can see in the video there of where the person was hiding. So again, it just provides an opportunity to create time and distance, not have to have immediate confrontations, and utilize tactical resources and planning for a better outcome. You can go to the next one. UASs can vary from situation to situation, but the key intent is to provide a tool allowing officers to carry out tasks efficiently and safely. While the above examples are not all-encompassing, any deployment will follow legal authority, policy, and procedure, in the utmost consideration for the rights and privacy of those in the community. The UAS is designed to provide pertinent information to officers, ultimately allowing them to make informed tactical decisions to support de-escalation and reduce the likelihood of using force, all designed to ensure the safety and protection of the community. UAS technology has evolved, ensuring effective and safe solutions for law enforcement deployments. The Daly City Police Department has evaluated many UAS suppliers through demonstrations, training courses, and through allied agency engagement and deployments. Axon, our contracted body and fleet camera provider, has UAS packages and accessories that are compatible with the required Axon Air licenses, which are part of our existing Axon contract. The Axon Air system ensures proper auditing, UAS tracking, data retention in our department's Axon evidence system, and overall UAS program monitoring. The police department has identified the DJI Matrice 30T, which is the bottom right photo, and the Mavic 3T UASs as the solutions that best meet needs of the department. The Matrice 30T is a medium-sized UAS that has dual batteries allowing longer flight time, higher quality imaging sensors that are weather resistant, and will best be deployed in situations requiring extended flight operations, flights involving large open areas, as well as during pre-planned UAS operations. The department is recommending the purchase of 2 of the larger systems to ensure availability should there be a repair consideration or for complex or lengthy deployments requiring multiple systems. The Mavic 3T is a smaller sized UAS designed for quick deployments with color and thermal imaging sensors and the ability to communicate through a speaker. This smaller UAS is designed to support rapid deployments from a certified on-duty patrol officer who will have the system in their patrol vehicle. The department is recommending the purchase of 3 of the Mavic 3T systems to ensure there are multiple systems available in the field during routine patrol operations. The redundancy will expedite availability and deployment by certified operators for approved flights. Both systems are Axon Air compatible, providing high-quality cameras and thermal imaging to systems to support deployments, and equally as important, they provide critical safety technology to ensure safe flight and contingency responses. These UASs have built-in systems to support flight capabilities through obstacle avoidance as well as recovery solutions should they lose connectivity with the operator or run low on power by automatically returning to the takeoff location. You can go to the next one. This is just a quick video of the Matrice 30T device. This is not Daly City related. This is actually a rescue on a snowboarder. But this, again, is just night imaging capability. You can see one of the rescuers coming down. And then that's one of the non-night imaging cameras that pick up additional information. The cost for the 3 complete Mavic 3T UAS kits is $22,467.24. The cost for the 2 complete Matrice 30T UAS kits is $25,117.43. Axon Air UAS licenses are required to be used in the Axon Air system. The associated license required for these UASs total $7,816.90 for the first year. The total cost in this fiscal year is estimated to be $55,401.57. This will cover the costs for the 5 UAS kits, accessories, and Axon Air licenses. Funding for this purchase was previously appropriated in the fiscal year 23-24 budget from Measure Q funds under the item of the Axon expansion project. In October of 2024 and October of 2025, $13,400.40 is due to renew the annual Axon Air UAS licenses totaling $26,880. Staff is requesting the Axon Air UAS is to be continuously funded as a Measure Q program, which will be brought again before the council during budgeting. And staff's available for any questioning.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions? Go ahead, Madam Vice Mayor.
Thank you so much for the extensive presentation. I think the visuals are really helpful. My question is, or actually, I think you touched upon it. I think one piece was touching upon like the privacy piece of the residents. But I think that in the demonstration, what you've shown is, of course, that safety, public safety is paramount for our community. So what are the steps around like the privacy of residents?
Yeah, so in order to utilize any of the UASs, there's going to have to be an approval process. So it's got to be an emergent critical need or a pre-planned operation, which will have prior approval from the chief of police for the pre-planned operations. So it's got to go through an approval process to begin with from a supervisor. And then as far as the actual use of the system, the recording aspect will start from the second that it takes off. So we'll set it all up. The second it leaves the ground, they'll be recording the entire duration of the flight until it comes back and lands. So if there's ever any inquiries about privacy concerns, that can be reviewed. It will also ensure that there's multiple cameras on these UASs. There's a flight camera, which is basically used for flight purposes so you can see where you're navigating. And then there's the actual cameras that you use to zoom into whatever your operational environment is. And so the primary goal of the operators themselves is going to be to use the flight camera, which does not look down into people's spaces until they're at where their objective location is, and then they can transition into the observational cameras or the thermal cameras. Outside of that, we'll have the general retention criteria that we have for our current body cameras and our fleet cameras. So anything of evidentiary value will be retained for a certain amount of time. If there's any accidental recordings or anything that's considered not evidentiary to the case or the investigation, that will be marked in our Axon evidence.com system, and that will be deleted after 9 weeks. So it's not retained if there are any privacy concerns. And we have it there for the sole purpose that if there are any concerns or complaints or there's anything internally investigated, we have opportunities to at least access that before it is erased. So that's the current situation that we have for our body cams as well.
Okay, thank you. As far as your planning, I do like the fact that there's like forward thinking around getting 2 cameras in case one doesn't work. Obviously, for an emergency need, as you mentioned, whether it's the situation that you showed us or, emergency situation. So I think planning and getting 2 is, having that foresight, right, in case the other one doesn't work and when you have to deploy it for an emergency.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think technology for the use of our public safety is so important. But I'm glad that you clarified the privacy aspect of it, where, look, the flight is only headed towards the scene and then drawn down to that area. So I think that's helpful for community members to understand.
And if I can just share part of our policy, just to cover some of the privacy aspects. Our current draft policy, which will go into effect, covers privacy, and it says the use of the UAS potentially involves privacy considerations. Operators and observers should take reasonable precautions to avoid inadvertently recording or transmitting images of areas where there is reasonable expectation of privacy. Reasonable precautions can include, for example, deactivating or turning images or devices away from such areas or persons during UAS operations, which kind of goes back to the flight camera aspect that we had discussed about already. And then prohibited use specifically states the UAS video surveillance equipment shall not be used to conduct random surveillance activities, to target a person based solely on actual perceived characteristics such as race, ethnicity, national origin, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, economic status, age, cultural group, or disability. Shall not be used to harass, intimidate, or discriminate against any individual or group, and shall not be used to conduct any personal business or any type. So that's incorporated in our lexible policy as well to further enumerate the need for privacy concern.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it for that clarification for myself and also those watching on video.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I think it was covered in terms of general surveillance, but I just want to just give some real life examples. So let's just say, for example, there was a protest that happens in front of City Hall, and then we deploy this UAS. Does that trigger surveillance?
Yeah, it would. I mean, I think in the conversations that we've had about, what our procedures would be, it would not be for the purposes of surveilling or watching or observing a peaceful protest. No different than what we would do with our own eyes. So if it's hypothetically a location that we could view with our own eyes, it's not necessarily protected as a private location. If it's a protest at a general, a private entity, for an example, that would prohibit us from watching that. That being said, I don't have any intention on observing peaceful protests unless we have an identified need or a concern. We've received intelligence or information that would suggest that there's a concern to either public safety or those of the protesters or those that are peacefully assembling. So unless it's for a protection purpose, it won't be for surveilling that for the intelligence gathering aspect.
And then my second question would be in terms of sharing of intelligence. So let's just say, because I know that there are some broad laws. In the Philippines, they have this thing called the anti-terror legislation, and it's so bold and so, it's a bold, large net in terms of who could be considered terrorists. Let's just say there was a protest again, and there's a deployment of the UAS. Will there be sharing of intelligence with other agencies or international intelligence agencies?
Again, no, it definitely covers no sharing of information. It kind of goes back to the LPR presentation where there would be no sharing of any information that would be administrative in nature, kind of under the Values Act, towards immigration-related things. And again, it would only be shared with another law enforcement agency if there was a need to know, right to know, to share that information for a public safety concern. So if we knew that we had a known individual associated to a crime that we were investigating, that maybe some other agency was also investigating for a similar crime, that kind of information may be shared, but that's common practice in law enforcement as it is. But nothing with the federal agencies unless it's, and we're constantly contacted by different federal agencies in the government about certain information that we have within our systems. We make it explicitly known that it has to be specific to a criminal investigation, and they have to provide us with written documentation from a supervisor or above in order to release any of that information.
Okay. And then I guess my last one is, I think I know the answer to this, but again, I think you brought it up in terms of like undocumented people. I think that's one of my concerns as well. In terms of like surveillance, and so it depends just on the situation and what's the purpose of deployment and how that's explicitly, I guess, sent out, right?
Correct. We have an
Yeah.
extremely robust
Okay.
immigration-related policy
Okay.
that prohibits any administrative act associated to that. So there would be zero administrative act. If somebody came to us with a criminal complaint, either a search warrant, a court order, or an active criminal investigation that we could verify, it would be treated as that,
Gotcha.
but not for an administrative purpose.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, other questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Could you kindly go back a couple of slides to the first video you showed?
The
yeah, right
helicopter
there, right
in the
there.
Daly City jurisdiction. It takes a second.
Okay. Can you stop it right there?
It's like a video game.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. I'm looking at the building there. How many officers would it take to set up a perimeter around that building?
This is actually in an open area, which makes it even more complicated because there's nowhere for us to hide.
Okay.
So it would be, anywhere from 5 to 10 officers, depending on the terrain itself, and the available cover and concealment for us to set up a perimeter to stay safe ourselves, to
Absolutely.
contain an objective area.
Okay, if you can continue if you had to search that building, how would you go about it?
Interior?
Right.
We would have to set up a perimeter on the exterior aspect of the building,
Right.
so nobody comes out
Right.
and compromises us from our rear. But then interior, it takes a team of 6 to 8 potential officers to safely cover one another and operate through different rooms and different obstacles or challenges that you meet inside, let alone coming across somebody, which then takes 3 to 4 officers to safely and appropriately address tactically the need to apprehend somebody.
In the absence of sending in an officer in that building, what would you do?
Well, right now, our only available resource would be canines.
Okay, thank you. Can you start the video again? So, I'm looking at the 2 officers at the top of the screen. What is that little thing?
That's a canine.
Thank
That's
you.
a dog.
All right, thank you. That's all I have on that. So the whole idea with thermal imaging, you're able to pick up heat body temperatures, and I'm quite sure you could probably go through that building and detect any other heat signatures in there. And basically, rather than going in and conducting the search for a potential suspect, you could probably get on a speaker system, and say, come out, rather than endangering the officer's safety, the canine safety, or maybe the person inside.
Yeah, technology has definitely gone towards the direction of utilizing UASs for interior purposes. The 2 drones that we've identified here in our current purchase would not support interior operations. They're larger than would really support an interior operation. But to be honest, we want to get a program started where we have some trained personnel, get some flight time and some understanding of utilization of the drone or the UAS prior to moving into what interior drones would look like. Because every drone really is purpose-built. So some of the ones for interior purposes are much, much, much smaller and allow you to, accidentally bump off a wall, or if it gets wrapped up in a towel and falls to the ground, it can take off again. Some of these larger ones cannot. But they do have the ability to have cameras on them for the interior search, and we've gotten some great, commentary and information from other agencies that have deployed drones that have had a lot of success for interior clearing without an officer ever having to enter and expose themselves or potentially harm or create confrontation with those inside.
All right, so it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and in the absence of having a UAS, and you want one, what would you have to do, and how long would it take?
3 o'clock in the morning, you probably see none. Most of our air assets, either CHP, San Jose, or the San Mateo County Sheriff's fixed wings, probably aren't working at 3 o'clock in the morning. And if they are, it's considerable flight time / environmental concerns. There are several local jurisdictions close to Daly City that have deployed drone programs that we have relied on in the past with extreme success. So we have been able to call out for vehicles that have fled, either pulled over or crashed, where the occupants inside jump out and take off running into a wooded area where we've had other agency drones come search, find heat signatures such as this, and allow officers to take custody of those individuals.
Okay. My last question is regarding your policy in backyards. What's Daly City's policy on private citizens utilizing drones and inadvertently taking pictures of somebody's backyard?
We don't personally have a policy or any law associated to it. I think it would be covered under the FAA requirements.
Okay.
I do have one of our drone operators here that could maybe speak more to that if you had further questions, but we currently don't have our own internal policy or law that I'm aware of.
But the mere fact you have a policy and you have taken that into account to address the privacy of individuals, and it's documented so that any violation of the policy could be subject to disciplinary actions.
And all of our policies are published online.
Thank you. I have no further.
All right. I have Deodore who has public comment. There you go.
Thank you again. Same thing, I think I heard a lot of it already, but I'm gonna just read it off anyway from the ACLU recommendations. Usage limits: a drone should be deployed by law enforcement only with a warrant and in an emergency, or when there are specific and articulable grounds to believe that the drone will collect evidence relating to a specific criminal act. Point number 2, data retention: images should be retained only when there is a reasonable suspicion that they contain evidence of a crime or are relevant to an ongoing investigation or trial. Point number 3, policy: usage policy on drones should be decided by the public's representatives, not by police departments, and the policies should be clear, written, and open to the public. Point number 4, abuse prevention and accountability: use of domestic drones should be subject to an open audits and proper oversight to prevent misuse. And the last point was weapons. Domestic drones should not be equipped with lethal or non-lethal weapons, which I heard earlier. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Deodore. Any other questions or comments?
I have a quick
Go ahead.
question, right? I'm just doing a little bit of research. I guess one of the critiques would be jamming of radio signals that could stop the operator from controlling the drone. How frequent is that? Or is there
Is that something you can answer? Yes. So Sergeant Mario Busalaki is one of our patrol sergeants, and he's also a certified drone FAA operator as well, so hopefully he can answer that.
Okay.
Good evening. The jamming of the signals are not as frequent. There's federal guidelines as to what people can possess that can actually jam those types of signals. However, each one of the drones has a lost link procedure where if it loses link with your remote control, it has an automatic return to home feature.
Oh, okay.
And then subsequently, if that does happen, all of that information gets reported to the FAA after the flight.
That's it for me.
So how many UA operators do you have in our city now?
Currently, we have 6 UAS operators who passed what's called a Part 107 test, which is governed by the FAA. They also attended I believe it was a 32-hour post-certified course to become the pilot.
And is it, obviously all the operators are police officers?
Correct.
Do you know if other jurisdictions use operators who are not police officers for this kind of work?
As long as they are hired by a public entity and they're flying a public-owned drone, then it falls underneath the certificate of authorization. So it is possible. And other agencies have utilized them for crime scene reconstruction, as well as collision reconstruction scenes. So yes, there has been other agencies.
And so do you envision carrying the drones in the police vehicle all the time? It'll always be present there?
For the certified pilots, that's one of the reasons that we have the smaller drones, so it's more nimble for them to actually carry out on patrol with them for more rapid deployment in case of a need for it.
Okay. And then I know, for example, like body cams, they can be automatically activated. Are these drones automatically activated?
The recording feature,
Yeah.
it could be set for automatic recording.
Okay.
But as the chief was saying, from the time of the flight where it starts automatic, if it doesn't automatically record, we set the recording from the flight time to properly document the flight.
Okay. And then how high can these drones go?
I'm not sure of their actual vertical height, but we have a certain height limit within the FAA standards that we're allowed to fly, just so we're not crossing over into Class A airspace.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, go ahead. I think they have some other ones.
Somebody else had a question?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. To the part about carrying the devices in the vehicles as needed, I can assume, and I'm only assuming, that you're doing it for time constraints, immediate deployment, and the possibility of mutual aid as necessary. Would you also consider that? I mean, if you depend on CHP, what if CHP calls you and says, we need the use? How would you handle that?
Yeah, so the smaller of the three drones that we're looking to purchase initially will be carried in the patrol cars for anybody that is a certified pilot for the purposes of expediency for deployment. So part of the problem is one of your drone operators may be on the other side of the city assigned to a call
Right.
Where they're committed and they can't leave. But there's an immediate, community urgent need on the other side of the city if I have another drone operator available. Or vice versa, the first person to show up that's involved in actual preparation and coordination of the scene itself may be my drone pilot, but they're the ones with the interior knowledge that need to continue the investigation, and so we'll have to have another person that can come and support, the overwatch aspects of what we're trying to accomplish with the operation. So it's a redundancy, it's an expediency thing to support the needs of ensuring community safety.
Thank you. And to the sergeant?
Yes, sir.
Sir, Busalachi.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. You remind me of the other Busalachi I used to work with, but I don't know if there's any relation, but it's a little bit off topic. Oh, there is, okay. I was very unaware that Post offers a course for UAS, and I'm proud to see that officers have availed themselves of that additional training, which you really didn't have to do, just as long as you pass was it Part 107?
Correct.
Correct, okay. So, in addition to passing FAA's Part 107, you also took an additional 32-hour course from Post.
Correct.
Can a private citizen take the test and pass for Part 107, not just police officers?
Yes, in order to actually fly a drone commercially,
Right.
You have to, as a private citizen, you have to have a Part 107 at minimum.
Thank you. I have no further.
Go ahead, Dr. Rob.
Okay. I just want to make this local to Daly City. Was this a clear day in Daly City, or was it like a foggy day in Daly City? I just want to know, because like if we're using these drones, like most of the time, I mean, we all know it's foggy out there, so just curious. Does it matter if it's foggy?
This day specifically was a clear day. That's
Okay.
why it wasn't actually a UAS that we utilized in this video.
Okay.
However, that does help us with the limitations of the UAS, where if there is low cloud cover, we aren't able to utilize helicopters or fixed wing aircraft because they can't see through the clouds. However, we could utilize UAS systems because they are able to fly closer to the ground.
Got it. Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
any other questions? Go ahead, Mayor.
Thank you. I don't know what the probability of this is, but when utilizing these drones, have there been like as far as like animals, like birds, like, you know, and the not collision of it, but them.
There
Yeah.
is, that is definitely a concern. So every time we fly one of these aircraft, we have to have a visual observer present, and that's absent of the pilot. So you have a pilot who's actually in control of the UAS. You also have a visual observer whose specific job is to look around the sky, look for animals, look for wires or other aircraft incoming to notify the pilot.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. It's good that you have thought that through, and that's part of the equation. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
Just one quick one.
Go ahead.
I want to say thank you for your due diligence. It increases the safety, less manpower, especially when we're low on staff and officers. And with the world we're living in, I think that it's safety for both the person you're after, more visibility, and to give them a clear where someone can be. Like you said, that person was moving and started to hide. So that's when it becomes like obviously more dangerous for our officers as well, and to try to apprehend someone in a safe manner. So I want to thank you all for the great work. Thank you.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve the purchase of the UAS?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Hearing none. Thank you, it's approved. Thank you. All right, we have our remaining item, which is under communications. Item number 10, the approval of the annual agreement between the City of Daly City and the Daly City Colma Chamber of Commerce for a 12-month period. Presenting is Maybelle Mania. Good evening, Ms. Mania.
Hi, good evening, Mayor Buenaventura and members of the council, and everyone else in the chambers. Let me formally and publicly introduce myself as your new Economic and Community Development Specialist. So we are reviewing item 10. Staff recommends that council approve the proposed Daly City Colma Chamber of Commerce contract for a 12-month period and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement. There's been a long history between the city and the Chamber of Commerce, and city staff has met with members of the chamber numerous times to draft this contract. And now the chamber is on their new vision, calling themselves now the 2.0 chamber, and they believe that a strong, vital community goes hand in hand with the strong, vital business environment. So the proposed agreement is for $60,000 payable in quarterly installments of $15,000 for a 12-month period, not fiscal year. I'd like to note, which is also in the draft that you should have, a couple of points that are going to be achieved with this contract. And A is to produce an online membership directory with a link to the city website. It's important that we know and understand who are the members of the chamber, as well as other people and members of the public understand who they are as well. Should be point E, hold at least one event at the City Hall Rotunda in coordination with the Small Business Commission and the Economic Development Specialist, myself. For example, a proposed legacy business event that goes with our new legacy business program that you all approved this year. Also to provide at least or attend at least once per year and present informational updates to the Small Business Commission. So strengthening the bond between our commission, which is our direct liaison to the small business community as a city, and the Chamber of Commerce. And then also the last point to note is to submit a quarterly progress report, an annual financial report to city management. This proposed contribution to the Chamber of Commerce, again, $60,000 for a 12-month period, which includes an appropriation sufficient for this purpose. City staff and chamber representatives will continue to work cooperatively together to improve and maintain the accountability for the proposed expenditures that are recommended for you today to approve. And staff is available for any additional information sought by you, Mayor, and other council.
Thank you, Ms. Manio. Any
you.
questions?
I have a few, if I may.
Go ahead.
Actually, I have about 25 questions, so I'll just give you a heads up. The first question I have is for Daly City staff. Are there any mechanisms for nonprofits to obtain funding other than CDBG grants to which the funding comes from the general fund?
Sir, through the chair,
Go ahead.
we'll get you that answer.
Is there an application, in the absence of that information at this particular time, are there any applications that have been created to where a organization fills out an application and provides various information and it's presented for approval before it comes to council?
I don't believe so, council member.
Okay. In the staff report, it made mention that we as council consider this as a budget item priority. Somehow I don't remember that. Do we have any evidence to support that?
Through the chair.
Yes.
In our study sessions, it was identified as a priority in this current budget year.
All right. I don't have that information, and it would have been great if I did. All right. Now, these are chamber-specific questions. And the reason why I'm asking these questions, I want to set the matter of crossing all the Ts and dotting the Is, and also as a fiduciary for this city. What is the current status of the chamber in regards to their charitable standing?
Can I?
Yeah, come on up. You're the chamber.
Yeah. Hi.
Okay.
Y'all know me. I am a board member of the Daly City Chamber of Commerce. And so you're asking a question. So I only have so much information, but we do have a foundation. And the foundation is what we use to raise funds. None of the money we get from any city goes to the fundraising. And we actually gave out $40,000 worth of scholarships to graduating seniors this past year. And we were just thrilled to work with the high schools in giving these scholarships to these really worthy students. So that it was a good question, Glenn.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Perano.
You're welcome.
But basically,
Through the chair,
Yes.
they are a 501c3 in the state of California.
Absolutely. Our papers are all in order.
okay, so on the determination letter, was it identified as a 501c3?
You mean the communication with our staff?
With the IRS?
I don't have that answer, sir.
I would like to say that, as far as I understand it, all our papers are in order for the 501(c), number one, and number two, very important to say that no monies, it's all fundraising that we do throughout the year, and that's how we fund the scholarships and our foundation. There is no monies there would be no money from the city or, the town of Coma that we don't touch that money for the fundraising. It's totally separate. And that's why it's so important, because in the before 2.0, things weren't transparent. We are transparent. We are all a voluntary board. We believe the city of Daly City, we believe strongly in the businesses of the city of Daly City. We are businesses of the city of Daly City and surrounding cities. And, I appreciate the questions. It's important because when I was on the chamber before, and then I was off the chamber, I know Glenn and I had a few conversations in the past years. I only went back because they're transparent, because everything's above board. You can see, you want to see the papers, we're going to give you everything. And that's so important to be able to work with you and the town of Coma for the businesses. So thank you, Glenn. I hope I answered
All
a
right.
little bit of your
Well,
questions.
yeah, part of it. Basically, I have a copy of the tax determination letter, which identifies your organization as a 509A2, which there is a distinct difference between that type of organization and 501c.
Of course, it's two separate.
Well, yeah, but I had asked the question, what IRS code has the chamber been approved for? And the answer would have been a 509A2.
I'm not the bookkeeper. I'm a volunteer board member. So we're happy to write anything down that you want to ask.
All right. As per IRS, how is the chamber named when the application was filed?
I don't have that information. We can get that to you.
All right, well, no, I have it here.
Okay.
It's named Coma Daly City Chamber of Commerce. Not Daly City Coma Chamber of Commerce, but Coma Daly City Chamber of Commerce. So as I read the staff report here, I see all relevant information, because this is a public document, saying Daly City Coma Chamber of Commerce, Daly City Coma Chamber of Commerce, and it continues through the staff report here. So it's basically using another name than what is actually approved by the IRS, is what I am saying. That's all I'm saying, okay? So I think we need to get corrections on that.
Through the chair.
Yes.
The difference in the cities, which comes first, is partially due to the scholarship program. I think that's the Colma Daly City, but we can verify.
There is a Daly City Coma Chamber Education Foundation, which is a legitimate 501c3 organization, and they have been revoked by the IRS in 2011.
Correct. That was the previous chamber.
Right.
We have current paperwork for the foundation.
Well,
And we can get that to you. That's
Okay.
not a problem.
All right, all right.
What was revoked before with the previous group of people, and she's not here because she's in the cemetery. She can't defend herself. I was not part of the group then. But I can tell you clearly, we're happy to give you any paperwork you need.
Okay, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Basically, what I'm asking for is a correction to all the highlighted areas on the staff report to reflect the actual name of the chamber, which is Coma Daly City Chamber of Commerce. That's all I'm asking.
Absolutely. We appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you, Glenn.
Ms. Perano, I think maybe you can, help since you're a representative. That was just information relating to the city of Daly City. But now I have the questions pertaining to the chamber.
Oh, okay.
Do you know how many other cities in San Mateo County that provides funding to chambers of commerce?
I have no idea. I know that the town of Coma does.
Okay.
Okay. And I know that the city of Daly City for many, many years provided funding. Many years.
Great. So that leads you, a historical perspective as to Coma and Daly City, what has been the funding levels, say, for the past 4 years?
We haven't been. You guys, City Daly City, so as you know, Georgette Sorrells passed away, and the chamber went away. Well, we had to rebuild it from the bottom up, and that has taken a few years. Wonderful volunteers from the community, and they have been working diligently to build the chamber and to be the best representation and assist the businesses of the city of Daly City as well as the town of Coma. So, if I don't have an answer for you because I don't have all the answers, whatever you'd like, just give it to me and we'll get you an answer.
All right, thank you.
You're
Just for
welcome.
edification, the town of Coma in 2021, you received nothing. And in 2022, you received nothing.
Because we weren't ready. We just got something.
No, it's just for information only.
Okay.
I do understand the issue of the pandemic and other issues and the
Yes.
passing of Ms. Georgette Sorrells, which was in May of 2020. So I know it's been difficult, and what you're alluding to is the revitalization of the chamber, which I'm happy for. I'm definitely happy. So, but I need to make sure that we as a city, and before I make a decision to release or to support this amount of money, I want to make sure that our city is getting what they could, and at the same time to assist the chamber.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm trying to do here.
We appreciate it.
Okay.
Yes, thanks, Glenn.
Memberships from the chamber. How much was brought in for memberships?
I don't have it. We can, I'm sure we can get that for you. Again, I know we submitted paperwork. Glenn?
Yeah, and that's why I'm asking about a formal application, because all these questions would have been available to me, and I would have an answer. And as of August 2023, it was $45,000. So in the absence of information, I have to go research and find this information. But again, if it was an application process, then I would have that information. You made mention earlier, student scholarships.
Yes, sir.
How much did you give out in student scholarships
We
this year?
just gave out $40,000 worth.
40,000?
40, yes, sir.
Well, that's excellent, because I actually look forward to that.
Yes. It was an amazing presentation. The students, the parents, it was beautiful, and you're more than welcome. We would appreciate it if you all would come for the next one. We look forward to it. And I think, didn't we?
Yeah, I was here.
We did it
I was
here. I was right there.
It was here.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was pretty amazing. And then I also attended the Westmore presentation as well. So it was really amazing.
All right, well, what's reported here is 74,000. That was
We
given
didn't
out.
give it all out because we gave out to every student that applied. And instead of $1,000, we gave them $1,500. So we felt to the max. We're still fundraising, and our goal is to give out even more. We're working with the high schools. Ann Cruz, one of the ladies that we have been working with, and and other high schools. See, the prerequisite to get money is if you live in Daly City, Como, or Broadmoor. And so all students are welcome to apply and write an essay and receive, a scholarship.
All right, thank you. Well, thanks for letting me know, because I
Yes.
see here you budgeted 74,000.
Yes,
but
we
only
wanted to
gave
give
out-
it all.
but only
We
gave
wanted to
out
give, yeah, we only gave out the 40. That is correct.
Can you describe how the funds will be used?
Your monies?
Yes.
Your funds?
Yes.
Well, they didn't give me that information, but I will tell you is that our goal is to have all the events that we had before. We had events here at City Hall. We have events throughout the city at local businesses. And, I can get you more information for that. I'm sure that that was discussed with, did you have a discussion as well? Yes.
Council, the deal points are in the draft proposal.
I understand that, but in comparison with another application that was submitted, it seems like we are getting the short end of the stick here. So I just wanted something in written form other than the staff report, because the other report I have is about 4 pages.
The staff report serves more as a summary and a highlight. The proposal has all of the deal points laid out.
I appreciate that. So basically, what I'm looking for is a full-blown document that contains everything that the chamber is going to provide us rather than a summary. Okay?
I thought we have a contract, we have an agreement that says what you're gonna provide us. Is that what you're talking about?
This is it, right here.
Well, I haven't even gotten to the contract yet because
But
I
that's
just got
what
the
details-
contract later on this evening. I just got it when the council meeting started. So I haven't even digested the contract yet, but I'm just basically asking the question. I appreciate it. Thank you. I noticed on your board of directors, a lot of folks have golf next to their name,
Golf?
like committees. And I'm wondering, what happened to the golf event that we used to have in Daly City?
That would have been, I would tell you that most likely was because of COVID. So there's different events that we're trying to resurrect, and we are step by step doing that. And so as we move forward and we have more support, we're gonna get back to the events that we had before. So that's one, and if it says golf, it's because that's something that we'd like to be doing.
Yeah, well, I didn't see that on the summary, and neither did I see it on the contract.
But it's not there. I mean, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. We're working towards all of this. So it's not something that's on the list to do right at this moment, but it's something that's in our wish list to get back to.
All right, okay, because I see on your listing of board of directors, these are committees.
Of course, because
So,
people are talking about it.
Dustin Chase, Bill Chang, Matthew DeVincenzi, and all of them have golf after their
Sure.
name, so.
They're talking
must-
about it.
It must be a reason, so I think, what you've just said, if we can get that as part of the summary, we look forward to putting together the golf tournaments to which Daly City was very proud of.
Yes.
But see, it's completely left out.
Well, we're not there yet,
Okay,
but we want to be.
all right.
Thank you for asking.
A couple more questions.
Sure.
I see on your balance sheet, in 2022, you had a $44,000 budget, to which you filed a 990N, which is a postcard, which is under $50,000. I see for this year, 2023, your actual, not your budget, but your actual thus far is $178,856.
I don't have the answer for you. I can get you the answer. It's all there. If you, I know you don't have a lot, you didn't get a lot of time to look at this.
Right.
But again, we're being transparent with you. If that's what it says it is, that's what we have.
All right, so in continuing to read the balance sheet, it says after all your expenses, you have a remainder after expenses of $113,367, to which the chamber's recommended budget by your application was estimating 100,000. So now you basically have a surplus after all expenses.
Well, I'll tell you, we don't have a brick and mortar. We started with nothing, literally. We had to reapply for our foundation. We had to reapply for all these paperwork. We had to go through a lot of work to clean up the mess that we were given. But we didn't give up. We didn't give up. And what we're trying to do here, honestly, is be transparent. So if you have any questions, we're more than happy to get you an answer, and I get someone here to, or get your answers.
All right. That's all the
Okay.
questions I have. I just wanted to make mention
Yes.
that I think what brought the folks back from the Chamber, Coma Daly City Chamber of Commerce is that 6 years ago, I had asked for an audit, and unfortunate situations came about, and into this very day, we have never received an audit. And I'm wondering, moving forward, if we're going to have a problem because, some sort of audit, whether it be 2-year audit, because you folks just got recertified on February 19th, 2022.
That's
as
when
per
we
the-
started.
As per the determination letter, but I do see in one of the attachments from the staff report on the summary, one of the last lines on the summary is that if the city requests an audit, one will be provided. But yet, looking at the contract, it's completely taken out. So, yeah,
I don't know
have-
anything about
right.
that, but I will tell you one thing, okay? When I was on the chamber before, I raised my hand in a meeting and asked for some financials. And within a little bit of time, I was no longer on the chamber with the other board. Now, why would I come back? Because I believe that this is a different board.
Ms. Perano, I'm completely for you.
Thank you.
But I want to make sure we cross all the Ts.
Absolutely.
And dot the Is.
Yes.
The board appears to be very transparent, and I would definitely like to work with the board, but let's take care of the issues that brought you folks back here in the first place. That's all I'm asking.
We'll do our best to answer
Thank you.
your questions. Just let us know what you need. Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you.
Madam
That's all
Vice
I
Mayor,
have.
go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Ms. Manio and Teresa, for coming to present what 2.0 looks like. I think similarly to in the past, we wanted to know like what was happening with that, and with you explaining the unfortunate situation and passing of Georgette, who's no longer with us, you all have taken the strides to rebuild the chamber. And I think that's a testament of all the volunteers that I see on the board who do this because they care about Daly City. They do this because they have a stake in the community and because they want to give back. And so, I look upon the agreement that's drafted today, and it has actual deliverables on here. And to me, that's accountability for the dollars that we're going to expend. Because myself as well, I have a fiduciary responsibility to the community and the public I serve. But when I look at this agreement, there are deliveries, and objectives associated to that. And thank you for the hard work, Ms. Manio, on this, and all the staff, Tina Mother's Head, and I think it's Director Piccoletti, or whoever. I know there was a lot of back and forth, and so there was some hard work put into this. And let me just say on seeing, what has happened in the pandemic, it's so unfortunate. We know that our businesses suffered. We know that, so when that happened in 2020, and all of you regrouping to try to highlight, to try to support the small businesses, to energize and, really showcase new businesses, is, on all of your volunteer time is to be commended. And to have hope in the future and now to be able to have a resurgence of that. So when I look at this agreement, when it says, okay, to make sure there's a membership directly online with a link to the city website, to be able to have, answer inquiries and correspondence relative to the advantages and opportunities of city, and to disseminate information by correspondence, e-newsletters, personal contacts, and other means, favorably to accept any staff member to refer calls to the CEO. That's a partnership, right? That's a partnership with the city and the chamber. To assist the city with joint marketing programs with various city departments and partners, plus businesses to encourage full utilization of local resources in the Bay Area. Look, you all don't have funding for us. We're just looking to approve it, but you are already doing the work. You're supporting the businesses, you're partnering. We see you at our recreation events. We see you at multiple events, really trying to build a partnership. And we haven't even funded you in that, right? And so that shows me the tenacity. And then it says here to co-sponsor one economic development promotional events, which are separate from social mixers, ribbon cuttings, that will happen right here, right? I think it says it here, or I think that's something separate as well. Economic development events includes tools, resources, and other aids for small businesses. City will provide venue and in-staff kind for planning and setup, but this event can include additional partners such as Renaissance Center, if it's Job Train. It's looking at really building our small business community in conjunction with our ECD department as well as our Small Business Commission. I think what we need is more partnerships together because that's what we need to make our communities thrive. So this is where I read the agreement. It says, to host at least one event in the City Hall Rotunda here in our venue in coordination with a Small Business Commission and Economic Development Specialists with a legacy business event. I'm just reading this out so the public knows what is being proposed. To assist the city in groundbreaking, ribbon-cutting ceremonies for new developments and businesses in Daly City, promptly notifying members of the public via email, social media, as requested by the city. The chamber shall also ensure that the city staff and elected officials are informed at least 2 weeks in advance of all chamber-initiated ceremonies. The city will reciprocate by sharing other miscellaneous ribbon cutting, commerce events, so it's really that partnership where the chamber communicates with the city communicates with the chamber, right? For further promoting economic development with prospective businesses in Daly City. So it's not only the businesses we have now, but new businesses within our community. And then also to participate in a mayor and chamber walk throughout the business community. I know this is something that has been historically done. And to continue that, I know that it stopped for a while because of COVID and other concerns. So this is in there as well, really to support our local small businesses. Attend and present informational update to the Small Business Commission. I think that was mentioned by Ms. Manio at least once per year. And I think this is something very important, J. So if we're looking at the contract, J says the chamber will submit a quarterly progress report and annual financial report to the city manager. And so as far as that is included in the contract, I think that's an assessment of ensuring that we are, watching and being mindful of the financial, I would say, investment we provide to you all. And then it says the city agrees to pay the chamber an amount of $60,000 for a period of, obviously, when it's approved. And then this I says payment shall be made in 4 installations of 15,000, with the first payment being issued following the execution of the agreement and quarterly thereafter. So if there's a quarterly progress report, the installations are every quarter. I think there's a check and balance here around if there's concerns around productivity, if there's concerns about the finances being monitored, it is included within this agreement. So, and I'll say what the city agrees to support the chamber with at least one representative, city staff, or elected official to chamber events, to produce an electronic listing of new issued business licenses to the chamber CEO each month. Chamber can follow up with a welcome to Daly City and invite them to join the chamber. Provide the listing of permitted new businesses, old and new. Chamber will refer prospective businesses to the city economic development specialist. So this is what I'm saying. It's a symbiotic relationship, right? I think we all want our community and our small businesses to thrive. And I'm actually really excited to see, you here, Teresa, the really, I think, energetic, robust energy y'all bring. I mean, it's nonstop that you guys have, you're supporting events. And then also in conjunction with our economic development specialist. So I see something more fruitful. I'm an optimist at heart. Like, really, that's just how I look at things. And so it also says to provide a link to allow users on the city website to apply for chamber. Of course, it's to support one another. To co-sponsor an event annually to introduce city government staff and the city manager to the public, social mixer. So to me, I think this is a great starting point. I know what was mentioned earlier around having a golf tournament or whatnot. But really what happened there, for those of you watching, is that there's, I think Lake Merced Golf, there was a assessment to redo that golf course because the LGPA wanted to extend actually, I think the golf course and how far in range it was. So it was really around that. And then also the pandemic. But I mean, I don't see a hope. We hope as things progress that those tournaments come back to Daly City. And that I think also us as the city of Daly City hope that resurges, right, and comes back. So to me, this is well thought out. This has been, a lot of effort has been put into this. And I think there's checks and balances prepared. And so I'm actually in support of this. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Dr. Rod.
First off, Mabel, welcome to the Daly City family. We worked in different capacities. I'm just glad that you're part of the economic development team. Two is, like, when I came into my seat, I had nothing but bad relationships with the chamber, and it was just unfortunate, right? Because got in, Councilmember Sylvester was like asking for these different documents. We never received them. So there was already a bad taste in my mouth until I became mayor. And when I was mayor last year, I was greeted with so much love and so much community, and definitely have changed my perspective on how 2.0 is way different from 1.0. Everything from the Turkey Bowl to the different scholarship events that you invited me to, highlighting all these different businesses and the social aspects and the people that are in it. And I think that's what makes the difference. With my first impressions to compare to the past couple of years, where I've been able to get to know the people that are on chamber. And just knowing that, even outside of the chamber, just you all being involved in so many different things outside of Daly City, from the President's Cabinet, Skyline College, to DCPLA. It's like everybody is so entrenched doing this work. And I think I was just echoing what the vice mayor was saying, like, you know, we just wanted to see like the transparency, and I just knowing the people that are in it, I think that everybody has the heart and also the willingness to be transparent, and you know, I'm supportive of this.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Joy.
Thank you. Thank you, Teresa, for being here tonight. The board members here, I want to recognize them of 2.0. And Ms. Manio, I didn't even know she was a part of our city until recently, who I happen to know. So I want to make sure formally welcome you. You didn't have a chance to do that. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And obviously, you know that what I say has to do with, as he was speaking about the history, which we all know was not the good history, but as we know that you guys are trying to get back on your feet and move forward. But I have to bring this up. Okay, so in doing research, because I sometimes watch, other cities, their meetings as well. And when you guys went to our beloved people who we love in Colma and went up there and asked for 60,000 over there, and I watched a lot of that, and I saw all the documents that were attached. And then you guys went on a night where it said, I think on the agenda, nonprofits. So you guys were one of the nonprofits, obviously by looking at the documents online that my friend printed for me, Javier, and then at UPS store, that it said that the statements were turned in, and then you turned a lot of good information in. So it's not that I criticizing, but we didn't get any of that information that Colma got. So
All I can say on that is, with Colma, it's my understanding we turned in what they asked us for. So I don't see a problem.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not criticizing.
Right, no, I don't see a problem with giving the same
sure.
information to you all. That's not a problem at all.
No.
If it hasn't already been done, I wasn't in the process.
But, yeah, so, and then in full disclosure, I didn't receive this until 5:20, and thank you, Angie, for printing it for me. And and I haven't had time.
Real brief.
Go ahead.
I want to apologize that we did not get that to you with the packet. It was an oversight. And once we realized that it was not in the packet, we corrected it. So I just want to be clear that there was no intention not to get that to the council members as quick as possible. It was an oversight through when we uploaded it. So I just.
I don't think anything was done intentionally. It's just a hard time to digest because we had a closed session and that's definitely not because none of the staff would do anything like that. And to go into that. So when Councilmember Sylvester was asking, so I know South San Francisco, this is not a criticism again of 2.0, because we're in a new era now. And Colma, who everybody has a different structure. They don't have an economic development department. They don't have an economic development specialist like we do. They don't have a small business commission. So I can see why the need for more money coming from them if that's what they choose. So in the bottom line, they didn't choose the 60,000 that were asked for, right? So I think that we need to keep like those kind of things in mind because we're in a deficit. And then also the fact of, I don't want the other nonprofits to think, because you guys are a nonprofit as well, not saying you're not worth any money, but I don't want to think that other nonprofits in our city that come to us even on the nonprofit night for CDBG funds, that they're less than or that we are not equitable when we view them in our community for whatever they do, their value is. So that's one point. Second point is South San
May I
Francisco.
answer on that one? Sure. Town of Colma is this big. Daly City is the biggest city in San Mateo County.
Oh, yeah.
And what we're going to try to do, to be honest with you, because we don't have a brick and mortar, it's probably the only reason we're surviving right now. Because, you know what I'm saying? We're rebuilding. And as we grow and do more, we hope to do more.
Sure.
Right?
Because I did see in the reading of the packet that they're looking to, I believe, and it's this is no criticism. Like you said, the documents are public for people. You're being very transparent. And then Colma, but actually they have a lot of businesses. I got to give them a lot of credit. They do have a lot of businesses. and auto and everything. But and they're our neighbors. So anyway, so South San Francisco gives no money. Their city gives zero money to their chamber, zero. And they also, I would like for us to consider a MOU versus a contract, because an MOU, it's my understanding, makes clear lines of what everybody's responsibilities is. So I'm not saying that all this is negative or anything, because I even hadn't had a chance to read it. But I do want to know that and I don't think there's anything intentional here, but because we have the economic development specialist, and when it says that I'm just worried about, we're a government agency and we're intertwining, which is good in relationship wise, but we're intertwining monies into a government agency and a nonprofit, right? And then we have staff that's being intertwined with a nonprofit. So I'm just trying to figure all this out. And I've looked at other chambers and those cities do not give money. And then when you check with them, they said, that's not how a chamber runs. Chambers develop their own money. And then when I saw in the, like you said, you were looking for an office. I saw it in the documents of Coma that they actually said they were looking for an office. And understandably, Felicia needs a salary if she's a CEO, because that's a big responsibility. So part of that money would go to CEO. I saw that Measure K funding, which is great. I'm glad you guys got it for $75,000, right? Which I say bravo to that, because you guys have to apply for that. Doesn't mean you always get it. So you guys are very active and you guys are trying to move in the right direction. And then we're in this deficit. And then the equity part of the other nonprofits. I've had people from some other nonprofits already contact me and say, why are they getting 60,000? And we're a nonprofit too. So, and we're in Daly City. So I need to answer those questions because this is the taxpayers' money.
So the chamber, so if it was like just coming to the chamber and we're taking the money and we're going to spend it, right? But that's not the purpose. Our purpose is to work with the businesses and help the businesses. So we're not just helping ourselves. We're helping the cities, we're helping the businesses. That's our goal. And with not enough funding, we can only get to a certain point.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a 1-year contract, it sounds like, right? It's not for the next 5 years, 10 years. How about looking at the point that we're going to do our best, we're going to fulfill our obligations. I think we'll surpass our obligations, but we need the support. And so we're looking for the city to support us so that we can support the city and the businesses. And that's what that's what we're asking for.
Oh, yeah. But I just wanted people to know that other chambers do not, they don't provide monies. It's a standard.
So in the city of South San Francisco, they have an amazing amount of large businesses that have lots of money. That's not us. So it's a different animal. So it's hard to be compared.
But even Millbrae.
Again, it all depends on the city. So we've applied. We're hoping that you guys will support us.
Yeah. And then along with Councilmember Sylvester, it would have been nice to have, believe me, I believe, because I think all of you have the integrity, the transparency, the chutzpah, and the vision to want to make it work. And then down here where it says to have the chamber CEO or designated chamber board member and other appropriate representative collaborate with city economic development specialists to become familiar in city processes and will assist the chamber. Again, it's not criticize them and the businesses. And then it wants the city, to give over our our contacts. I saw that somewhere to the chamber. So
I thought you guys want our.
Right.
You want our information. Yeah, so we're going to work together.
I saw somewhere, I think it was in the staff report, that it said that it wanted us to, if we got phone calls or any correspondences, to turn them over to all of you.
Well, to share it so that we can reach out to the community.
But wouldn't that be Ms. Maybelle Manuel's position?
It depends on, we're looking at what the chamber is going to do and how we're going to build the chamber, which then in turn, we build the businesses for the city and work with, this department. So
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Would
Yeah.
she keep that information and work on it herself as our economic development specialist?
do you want to speak on that?
Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think you might be speaking to us giving the chamber our newly active business license contact information, and that is to help them, support them, gain membership.
It says any email or correspondences, so not necessarily with the license. That's in the staff report. But anyway, so I just want to point those things out, and that Coma ended up giving the 37,000, and that from the 60,000, and then on our report, which was not on the Coma report, which is fine, it was included Broadmoor, right? We all know Broadmoor really doesn't have much businesses, but I just wanted to ask any particular reason why it included Broadmoor on ours and not Broadmoor with the Colma Daly City report.
Am I guessing, and it's just a guess on my part, Daly City, Broadmoor is part of Daly City, so out of respect, well, it's, even though they use a different police department and such, that's Daly City. So I just think it's more out of respect. They used to have businesses, they don't, I think they got taken over by Daly City, but I just think it's more respect.
Because this is the Daly City taxpayer money, no disrespect to
They
Broadmoor.
they don't have any businesses to worry about. We're not going to do a ribbon cutting in Broadmoor unless they open a business and they ask us to do a ribbon cutting. Yeah.
And then, so anyway, and to make it legal, we have to make sure that the names are legal, as Mr.
Absolutely. We'll bring that up.
Sylvester?
I'll bring that up.
I'm trying to put it all on you, and I apologize. 'Cause
Well,
I know it was
I'll-
unfortunate.
we'll pass it on.
Yeah.
We got it.
And I understand without going to public about Felicia's situation, so completely understand.
Yeah.
So that's why I would like to have more time to digest this here. But I appreciate everything, because I see the energy. I know that you guys are committed, and that it's all supposed to be really positive. And you can actually feel, like Dr. Rod alluded to, there's so different, or you wouldn't have come back.
No, and the other thing is we've been supporting businesses in Daly City without support back. We've been out there. We're out there, and we're doing it. And we did it because we have the faith and we have the love of the city and wanting to support the businesses. And so, just have to know that that's what we're doing, and we continue to do it, and we want to do more. We want to do more.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are you done, Mr. Giovanni?
So thank you.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to put you under the questions, because I know you're doing the board member, and you don't have all the Miss CEO who she knows. I mean, not that you don't know, but she really knows, like, boom, 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 boom.
I was not told what to expect.
I know.
Here I
Things
am.
happen.
Yeah.
Understandably. I understand that part.
Yeah, just to address like my fellow colleague, Ms. Giovanni, I think what they're looking at, and I think we're going too far in the weeds, is kind of like what DCPLA is to Library Board of Trustees. So when we talk about like, yeah, we have money for the libraries, and then Chella's there, and I think Chella would be, or Mabel will be like the equivalent to a Chella, But there we have the Board of Trustees, we have DCPLA, we have no problem. Thank you for what you did for us, and I think that's what the Daly City Chamber of Commerce. They're not doing it for the libraries, but they're doing it for our businesses.
But we don't give money to DCPLA.
Okay. All right, so let me weigh in. I want to thank you, Teresa and Mabel, for coming tonight. I think you deserve a second chance. We haven't funded you in years, and we did have this difficult time period where there was a lack of trust. But I think what I've seen, and along with what Councilmember Rod has seen, is really transformation. And I've seen it. I've seen it in the work that you do. I've seen it, how you continue to work for us, for the businesses in Daly City, even though you weren't paid. And I've seen the new leadership. And I've heard that story about you, Teresa, where you asked the question and the next thing you know, you were out.
I was out.
So having someone like you on the board is going to go a long way. And then I agree with the vice mayor's analysis of this agreement, how structured it is, how well written it is, how the deliverables are there, and how Ms. Manio is now on board, and we have a small business commission to work with as well. And so I do think you deserve a second chance, and I'm going to vote in favor of approving this agreement. And I'm glad that the structure is such that, as the vice mayor mentioned, quarterly reports, quarterly payments. Again, it's built-in safety net, and not that you need it, but at least it's something for us to work towards, and we're working together. So I want to thank you for all that. All right, with that, can I?
Just real quick. So the part about, I'm not trying to delay your vote, but I just wanted to say we didn't have time to even read it, really.
That you made that request, you made that clear. I'm
Okay.
going to make a motion to approve this agreement between the chamber and Daly City for the 12-month period as recommended by the staff. Can I get a second?
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further conversation?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
All right. Let it be clear that I am in complete support of the chamber.
Yep.
However, we have a policy issue here with Daly City in the sense that there is no mechanism currently in place for any 501c3 to produce an application either on a yearly basis, and we could consider it all at once. And also, I have not seen any information about obtaining an audit. So just wanted to make that point clear, and I really feel uncomfortable for the city side on this, but not the chamber.
No,
No, it's-
please.
Sorry.
All right,
Thank you.
so we've had, any other further conversation?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just one. I want to say the thing. Obviously, you know, that's why I made a preface that I do support the chamber. But I really, as in, I know that you guys have businesses. If you don't have time to even read a contract, you have a fiduciary responsibility. And not that I don't think that anything is not truth and transparency, but I have not, and I don't think that's right. I mean, the public is watching here. So that, and then I would like to know where the 60,000 comes from so that we can tell the public where it's going to come from, since we're in a deficit.
Go ahead, Mr. Piccolotti.
Staff budgeted the funds in this fiscal year.
Pardon?
Staff budgeted the funds in the fiscal
And
year.
the votes for 60,000?
Yes, we have.
Okay. But I'm sure we have some other thing. But anyway, okay, thank you. But
All
I
right.
did not.
Can we get a
So
roll
it's
call,
unfortunate.
please?
Ms. DiGiovanni,
Abstain.
Dr. Rod,
Yes.
Ms. Manalo,
Yes, to support our economic recovery here in Daly City.
Mr. Sylvester,
Abstain.
Mr. Buenaventura.
Yes. All right, congratulations. We'll see you in, hopefully, in quarterly.
I'd like to thank you all, and I just real quick, before I say anything, I just wanted to just say the names of the businesses, if you don't mind, of the board members, so you know who's working for the city. Rebecca Houston, Cochrane Global Living Realtor, Kevin Tong, Farmers Insurance, Eleanor Serrato, City Toyota, Ross Sit Group Realty, Marie Villa Rosa from Ceremony Shopping Center, Dustin Chase for Lucky Chances Casino, Bill Chang from PG&E, Matthew DeVincenzi for Classic Bowling, Monica DeVincenzi for Republic Services, Steve House for Budget Blinds, Daisy Lee Moonstar, and even though she's morphed into another business, it's still Moonstar, and myself with Duggins, and we all want to thank you so much for having faith in us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. All right, let's go on to appointments, board, commission, membership, committee appointments. Any appointments? Hearing none, let's go on to reports. Council committee reports. Any council committee reports? Go ahead, Madam Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the record, Madam City Clerk, we did have a council committee meeting. It was a design review with Councilmember Daly Magbawal. It's really exciting, and as I mentioned, for the record, to see the progress of Seafood City in the St. Francis neighborhood. We know that the loss of Pacific Super was a great loss, given that it was a neighborhood supermarket. And now that incoming is Seafood City, we discussed having artwork on the side of an area. I think it was a very robust conversation, and it's to be continued, working with local artists and artists within California. But it's exciting to see a large mural. And I think even the ownership or the marketing director mentioned that they're willing to expand the footprint of the mural. So even from that design review meeting, the expansion of a mural there on that development site for Seafood City is something that is down the line. So I wanted to share that. Is there anything else, Dr. Rod, that I missed?
I think you gathered all the information, and I think it's an exciting time, and everybody's is looking forward to seeing collaboration and also seeing that whole area activated once again.
Thank you, Dr. Rod. And then also wanted to mention that we did also have, it was a busy night that time, Midway Village Phase 2 review. So that's also very exciting for the record, Madam City Clerk, that the Phase 2 for this huge affordable housing project in design review has been brought forth to the subcommittee. And really, I think it corresponds with, really ensuring that the design is well done in a neighborhood such as Bayshore that sorely needs, the opportunity to have more affordable housing as well as community assets within that neighborhood. And so that was also something very exciting to see. I'm going to also ask Dr. Rod if there's any further comments.
Yeah, I think for the Midway Village project, I think it's, I like how they had their whole due diligence in terms of planning and taking consideration our suggestions. We also brought up the whole thing of public art as well. And also with all the different forms of development that are coming out, and these are huge developments, that they're not planning at a very rapid pace, but we're taking it at a pace where it's very slow, it's deliberate, and it's careful.
Thank you, Dr. Rod. I think also in addition to that, when you talked about the public art installation, the developers were very open to have hyper-local artists coming from the Bayshore. So I think that was really amazing to hear. And that is all for council committee reports.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other council committee reports? Go ahead, Dr.
I think we, let's see, last week,
You're
October
right.
18th.
We had another one.
We had the JUHSD committee, Ceremony Del Rey. There was also, I think we're also taking deliberate baby steps in terms of really how to plan this huge site, and we're looking at the different phases and how we're going to incorporate affordable housing, But I think one thing that really stood out is, again, this is a long-term process. It's not something that's going to be coming overnight, but we're seeing this as a long-term, multi-year planning. And, we're going to be taking the necessary steps to get everybody's consideration and thoughts from the community, as well as from our electeds and also from the school district representatives as well.
Great.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think in addition to that, I know that as you mentioned, it is a process that we're undergoing, and that it'll be going, I think, to planning, and then there's different phases, and I think staff has those dates in regards to that. I think one piece that was discussed that's very important is, what is important is the program around the affordable housing units. That was all something requested from the development team to look at opportunities to ensure that there's a higher percentage of affordable units in a very large project that we see. We know that it's important to have, all types of housing, but more so our Daly City community residents and need more affordable units. And we know that, and that's a priority of ours. And so similarly, for the record, Madam City Clerk, that was something that's being discussed, and the percentage is hopefully at the final point increased to 20%.
Great. Any other any other council committee reports? All right, hearing none, let's go on to city council reports. How about city council reports? Go ahead, Madam Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to share with everyone that I had joined the YIMBY event that happened in Peninsula for Everyone with many local state legislators who are pro-housing in regards to pushing for more affordability and access to all types of housing in our neighborhoods and communities. Also attended PAMANA, the 50 years of service, love, and justice with the Filipino Advocates for Justice. It was their golden milestone, an organization I work closely with to push for equity for the Filipino World War II veterans. Also attended a community health fair at Seton Hospital on October 11th, where many healthcare providers and doctors gave educational talks to the community at large. And then also a really wonderful event. I know that I also shared with everyone at our last council meeting, the Taste of Top of the Hill. I wanted to give kudos to Chela and also specifically to Selena and her team at the John Daly Library on October 11th, which really brought forth our local businesses and really just an amazing turnout. I thought it was a wonderful concept of supporting local businesses that are walkable from the library. They had even a map that just showed how close these businesses are. And I know that they have another one in November, so don't miss it. I'm also very humbled and thankful to the Filipino American National Historical Society of East Bay for the recognition for my public service this month during Filipino American History Month. On October 13th, we held a community vigil for Domestic Violence Awareness Month for all victims in partnership with myself, led by Lizelle Chan Lucero, to bring light and awareness to domestic violence prevention. Also attended the University of Philippine Alumni Association of San Francisco for their 50 years building a legacy, with special guest Attorney General Rob Bonta, who introduced his mother, Cynthia Bonta, who was awarded Distinguished Alumni. UPAASF was actually incorporated 50 years ago right here in Daly City. Also, it was just a delight to join the ribbon cutting of the National Fitness Court at Lincoln Park with Lila, the artist, homegrown here in Daly City, and also Dolger Senior Center, which I know she was seated here earlier. Marianne Mann and and the seniors and community members were present. I also celebrated a celebration of life for Joyce Juan Manalo, who is integral in the Filipino arts community, who gave many decades of her life to really enhance Filipino American theater, and helped really just put forth and highlighted theater arts, that I think it's the only or the first theater, Filipino American theater, in the nation. And just honored her life, a celebration of life for her. And then also joined a North County Fire County Authority badge pinning ceremony. Once again, I want to congratulate all the promotions and newly inducted firefighters. I'm really humbled and proud to serve as chair of the Joint Powers Authority Board with Brisbane and Pacifica. And then on Saturday, joined Mayor Florin Nicholas of South City, who's our neighbor next door, with the Filipino American History Month flag raising to support our neighboring city. It was amazing to see the St. Augustine Children's and Adult Choir, and it was really a well-done event that it will be held annually. PBRC held an amazing educational meeting with CTIN, the Daly City Police Department, as well as the Philippine Consulate as well this past Saturday. Also wanted to share that an amazing artist, Pasita Abad, will be at the SF MoMA, and in honor of Filipino American History Month. That installation will be there, and if you're able to go see it, please do. I also went to Undiscovered SF. It's really a regional event in the area, where actually many Daly City vendors were there, that talked about how they wanted to give back to their communities and hopefully eventually create a brick and mortar in our city. Many of them grew up in the city of Daly City and talked about being able to hopefully give back as a small business owner. But right now they're at the entrepreneur stage. Also wanted to acknowledge the State Bar of California honored our Mayor Ray Bonaventura in honor of Filipino American History Month. And really amazing to see what you do not only for the city of Daly City, but for the state of California. I know you're such a humble leader, but should be acknowledged for all the work that you do. And I will quote him. For me, being a lawyer means being a part of a noble profession. It's incumbent of all of us to try to improve our standards and protect the public in order to elevate our great system of justice and government. And that is all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Any other city council reports? Go ahead.
I'll just make mine real short. She went over some of the great events that we had in Daly City, and I see Miss Denise, and we know it's the trunk or treat. So the trunk or treat was off the hook this year. I know it's the correct grammar, but it was really wastewater. I mean, everybody. The very first one was Duggan's, and all the. I've never seen so many children in their cute little costumes. Firefighters, Daly City PD, our explorers. I mean, volunteers from even the young girls, volunteer from UC Berkeley. Heidi's daughter brought the young ladies dressed in the costumes. I mean, we've had great ones, but we had great weather, and I think that was fantastic. And David, your crew, Andrea, I mean, and then when you walk inside, they had where you take the photo booth, they had games, and you could feel all the kids were just gravitating all over the place. I just thought it was really well done, as always, and again, after tonight and for the beginning of a recreation, just everything they do, Denise, your staff is incredible. And you already know that, but you have to say it once in a while. So, and then for Shayla, back at the library, I mean, it had King's Pizza, it had Salag's, it had some great restaurants that if people tried it, then they would go to it. I thought it was great. And the librarian, they created it themselves. So once you give them I like that in our city. The department heads give them the ability to create and the room to create, and they come up with these great ideas. And we're having the other one, as you heard the vice mayor said, in November. Looking forward to other restaurants being highlighted because you never knew that King's Pizza had all these different kind of pizzas, and you want to go in and try it, and it helps our local businesses. I think that's fantastic. And along with the vice mayor and Councilmember Sylvester, the badge pinning is always great. And our city manager was there with the Leilani, and it's always fantastic to see the new firefighters. And it was 3 different cities because it was North County Fire, but always so proud of our Daly City firefighters and the promotions from within. We were able to have promotions from within, was to note momentous with Joel, and some other ones got promoted, which that means their movement and succession planning, which I thought it was a great vibe, great venue at Mission Blue in Brisbane, and I thought it was fantastic. Again, what can I say about recreation and the outdoor fitness court? Another one. Besides Lila and her mural was fantastic. Another great weather day. I don't know how that happened, but it was beautiful. And then we all went over to from the Lincoln, then we went over to the other one. And then we had our great, he's a personal trainer. He's a veteran. He works in wastewater. He was saying an employee lives in Daly City, went to school in Daly City, and he actually was showing us some different exercises and how to use the equipment. And I thought he is our ambassador, right, Denise? He's our very first ambassador, which whatever scope that is that Denise decides. An ambassador means, I guess, promoting the fitness. And if you want to know more about the ambassador, being an ambassador, please contact Recreation, ask for Director Denise or our city manager, and they'll be happy to help you because it's a great thing to do in our city. So, because we have fitness, and believe it or not, we actually have good weather to be out there moving around. And I have to give Dr. Rod a shout out. He was able to do, now that didn't surprise me, but I saw it in the photo that was posted on Facebook, an incredible feat on the exercise equipment. But again, it didn't surprise me, but it was fun because he participated as well. It was great. So we have all these great events, and we have more coming up. And I want to also say for the pink breast cancer, for the badges, go to our desk for our Daly City PD. We're still having those available because October is breast cancer awareness, and I'll be purchasing one hopefully tomorrow. And just know that it's every day. And I'm very humbled to say that we did have that officer who humbly spoke in the video about his wife. It took a lot of courage, but it also gave the reality that those in blue, no matter what your uniform and who you are, breast cancer touches many of us in whatever they do. And for him, the way he was speaking as he was in his patrol car and talking about the struggles of his wife, I found that and had a lot of feedback, if you'll convey to him, that it really touched them to know that it's all of us. It's all of us together. So any of it we can do to support one another is a great thing to do. So if there's anything else, I'll leave it till next time. And thank you, Mayor.
All right, any other? Go ahead, Dr. Rod.
Boy, there's a lot of events that are happening this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
One event that's happening is the Bayshore Block Party at the Bayshore Elementary School from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's our 4th annual. I've gone to the last 2 or 3. Really a lot of fun. We have different vendors that will be there, different performances. Come through, wear a costume. Also, same time, same date, October 28th at Skyline College, Building 6. It's the Filipino-Philippine-X American Encyclopedia book launch, which will be the largest Filipino American resource published resource in the history of like Filipino American studies. I'm fortunate to be one of the authors. I'll be there along with so many other authors and community storytellers and community leaders. And there will be also tabling from different organizations as well that will be attending that event. And also, I want to just put it out there to all of those in the public. December 1st, help rebrand Daly City. I think we are more than just a gateway to the peninsula. Propose a new sign for the welcoming sign for Daly City. And then also, let's put our heads together, come up with a new slogan. And if you need more information, email our city manager over here.
Great, great. Any other go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I do. I just
Okay.
have a couple I just wanted to say. I think for next year's Halloween, Denise, that was pretty amazing. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, it just keeps getting larger and larger. It was basically like busting at the seams, literally like a continuous flow of families, and very happy families. And so I also wanted to say that that was a well done event and a lot of little happy people. So thank you to you and your team. I also wanted to mention that I did meet with the Salvadoran community this past weekend to talk with them about their concerns and also, just as residents here in our community, the city of Daly City. And I think that is it for me, Mayor.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Sylvester.
Thank you. I'd like to first start off with, I was at the North County Fire Authority badge pinning, and as luck would have it, during the ceremony, 5 or 7 minutes into it, everybody's cell phone went off. And that was an earthquake alert. And they made a joke about it. You're safe because we're here. But anyway, to make it short, I want to let the community and the promotees and the new firefighters know, and it's a saying I always have when you're police or fire, that uniform chose you. You did not choose the uniform. So thank you to all our firefighters and our new firefighters. We look forward to your service. West Nile virus. That's my next topic, which is mosquitoes. There has been detected in 31 counties statewide, of which 183 human cases in California. Out of the 183, 6 have died. Over in the area by the Cow Palace, and I got a couple of pictures here, and I'm looking, it looks like a mountain with some trees, but I can't denote where exactly, but it's near the Cow Palace. Well, the Mosquito Vector Control District, in their travels, they look for problem spots. And they found one spot to which the owner of the big parcel of land with a hill put tarp over the dirt. Well, what's the problem with that? When it rains, and then as the land dries up, it breeds mosquitoes. So education is the key. They advised the owner, and the owner quickly removed it, and looks like he or she replaced it with rocks and boulders. It's a big area, but be aware of that. Moisture is definitely makes it for a mosquito breeding ground. If you feel that you may have a problem with rodents, want somebody to come out for mosquitoes, you have a raccoon problem, you can call the Vector Control District and they'll come out and also give you ideas to prevent it. So, good to know. But the last part, which was really appealing to me, was the funding. Approximately 2 council meetings ago, I brought in paperwork from Cal Cities talking about a new investment firm called Cal Class. Just wanted to make mention that 3 months ago, the mosquito district, they thought they'd try it out. And what they did is they put in $200,000 to try it out. The current interest rate on Cal Class is 5.473%, whereas the San Mateo County Treasurer is paying 3.206. And to get your money out from San Mateo, it takes at least 45 days. Cal Class is 24 hours. So the reason why I say that is to say this. 2 months, I said 3 months, 2 months prior, the Mosquito Vector Control District decided to put in additional $1 million into Cal Class. And just the last board meeting, they decided to put in another 1.5 million. And as I look at the budget for the Mosquito Vector Control District, it encompasses 0.1% of Daly City's budget. So you get an idea as to how big the budget is compared to Daly City, but they're making frugal and intelligent decisions in where to put the money. As a member of the Housing Endowment and Regional Trust Fund, with money coming in for new housing, but it's just sitting there in the San Mateo County Treasurer, I'm trying to get them as treasurer to move that money over to Cal Class. And I think we in Daly City should be looking at to doing the same. That's all the reports I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right. No other city council reports. Let's go to the adjourn in memory. I have Jocelyn Manalo. Ms. Manalo, go ahead. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, you had a staff report. Sorry about that.
That's okay, just a couple comments. Last week, I did meet with the finance director on that very topic, Councilmember Sylvester, on the Cal Class, the information you provided. I also want to know, the questions that came up tonight on item 10, I will be looking into and making sure that those are viable questions, comments, and concerns are answered. So,
Thank you, Mr. Picolotti.
yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Manalo, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This evening, in memoriam of Rosalina Saba. Rosalina Saba, born February 20, 1938, in the Philippines, was a loving mother and dedicated mother of two. A grandmother of four, resided in the Mission Templeton area at top of the hill for 25 years. She took the 5M, well, that's what it was called at that time, Samtrans bus to Belmont, where she worked for 20 years. She always lit up the room with her smile. She told stories from someone who lived through and survived World War II. She had old school values where she would give anybody her food for anyone who was hungry. Sadly, she passed away on October 4th, 2023, at the age of 85.
Okay. Anyone else? We have one more. We'd like to adjourn in memory also of Carmen Avila, who is the mother-in-law of Daly City employee Jose Garcia. Let's take a moment of silence to honor those individuals who have passed. All right, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you.